DOJ history.
After the January 6th attack on our democracy, the career men and women of the Justice Department engaged in what has become the largest investigation in our history. In November last, I appointed Jack Smith, a special counsel, to take on the ongoing investigation in order to underline the department's commitment to accountability and independence. Mr. Smith and his team of experienced, principled career agents and prosecutors have followed the facts and the law wherever they lead. Any questions about this matter will have to be answered by the filings made in the courtroom.
No new evidence to establish a connection between the riot and Trump beyond his well-known tweets and public statements. And if you read the indictment, which I have, yeah. And it's not just me saying it, and it's not just the Wall Street Journal editorial board saying it. Jonathan Turley, George Washington University law professor, had this to say about it yesterday.
Well, this is a free speech killing indictment. There's no way around it. As you know, I write a great deal as an academic in the free speech area, and I've rarely seen a more chilling filing by the Department of Justice. I mean, the question that people have to ask themselves is, when is the price too high? I mean, people are obviously enraged, but when is the price too high to bag Donald Trump? This indictment is that prohibitive cost. I mean, what they are attempting to do is criminalize what they consider to be disinformation. And I have to tell you, this indictment is a really sad moment for me. I had hoped that if Smith was going to indict on January 6th, that he would find unassailable evidence and unquestioned legal authority. He has neither in this indictment. But what he does have is the criminalization of political speech.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. At least he wasn't charged with seditious conspiracy or insurrection, because that might have kept him from running in 2024. But the fact that they brought charges anyway, it just doesn't sit well, and it makes me want to vote for Trump all over again. And this is what he said, in Erie, Pennsylvania, why they did it.
They waited 2.5, almost 3 years, so that they could bring him right in the middle of my presidential election, because it's election interference. These are crooked people.
Well, again, there's no evidence to establish a connection between Trump and January 6th that we don't already have in the public domain.
Nothing.
Now, maybe Jack Smith is holding something back. That would be odd. Maybe he is. Philip in Blue Island, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks. Just as a typical whatever that means, American regular. And I'm sitting back and I'm watching all this happen on January 6th and just stuff that happened before, especially with him going after Pence, his vice president, and kind of, kind of trying to get him to do something that's against the Constitution of the United States. And it just seems to me that there's enough evidence already that, and especially with these crowds that he sent down to the Capitol, I'm just, it's just, for me, not being as political as some,
right,
that he had some culpability or responsibility for everything that happened on January.
Interesting. He was not charged with incitement to riot, Philip, for those clowns he sent out to the Capitol, because in part he sent those clowns down, as you call them, saying peacefully go down there and protest what's happening. And you believe in the right of Americans to protest, don't you?
Yeah, but I don't believe.
Yeah, right. I know. Thank you. That was the question.
I don't believe in sending them.
Yeah, except Philip, stop, because you just conceded that he wasn't indicted for incitement to riot because he wasn't, and you said that people have a right to protest. So there's the problem there in terms of him sending anybody to do any violence, the argument that you're trying to make, but there's no evidence to support it. And, oh, by the way, the federal government didn't charge it. So that's one issue. The second issue is, are you allowed to have an opinion that turns out to be wrong in this country? Are you allowed to
I think
suggest
both.
something that is erroneous, something that somebody turns around and says, well, that's actually unconstitutional, or that's actually not provided for, or that's an that is not a compelling legal theory?
But what I was going to say is that even listening to the points of view from the other side, I think that there's some legitimacy to that. But
Legitimacy to
when you
what?
still have to what the last clip you said when the guy was like calling it an indictment on
Free speech.
speech.
Free speech killing
Right.
indictment.
So right, and so there's some legitimacy to that. I'm not that naive or whatever, but it's still when you still hear him saying go down there and fight like hell, or you got to fight like hell. Yeah, that's political speech in a different way. But when it comes from Trump, it just seemed like it just had a whole different level of vitriol, a whole different level of anger, or we got to take our country back. It was just sounding different.
Yeah, well, that's because
and for others.
you don't care for Trump. That's
No,
why it sounds different to you.
Come on.
And well,
I really think.
well, Philip,
I really think
Philip,
I really think Trump
Philip.
was doing some good things as president. The jobs, the thing with the HBCUs. I think he was doing some good things, but I also think that sometime with his mouth, he just over. I think the American people just got really tired of it, and especially now he started. He already was ginning up the group to saying that his election was being stolen. So I'm not all that against the man, but I'm just, come on, Dan.
Thanks for the call.
Oh, don't you think? Don't you think this is election interference right now?
Come on, Dan is not an argument. He's not been charged with incitement to riot.
No,
So
there's
even the
no
federal government couldn't
insurrection.
make out the case. So that people got tired of him. Yeah, he's obnoxious. That is not against the law. That is not the basis to put a president in the clink, or even charge him for that matter. And the people got tired of him. And I took his rhetoric this way. You either believe in free speech or you don't, consistent with the restraint where speech is turned into action. A charge the federal government is not leveling. And yet here is what you have to deal with. People say, well, but he sent him down and he said fight. And he said, it is not one of the charges, but he did it. But he said this, and
It's not a breaking the law.
All right,
Everyone has a right to free speech except for President Trump.
More on this at 5:38, including the immediate reaction from one of his challengers in the Republican primary, Vivek Ramaswamy. 5:38.
Good, but now let's head straight into that newsroom. Excuse me. Here is Mike Scott.
70 degrees, 5:33. Ukrainian authorities say Russian troops have hit port infrastructure in southern Ukraine with Iranian drones very close to the border with NATO member Romania today. Former President Donald Trump says politics is behind his latest indictment, writing on Truth Social that he and supporters are being persecuted. Special Counsel Jack Smith says the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol fueled by lies, he says, told by former President Trump.
The attack on our nation's Capitol on January 6th, 2021, was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. As described in the indictment, it was fueled by lies.
A lawyer for former President Trump says his legal team will now relitigate every single issue in the 2020 election in response to the Trump indictment.
It's a terribly tragic day that we find ourselves in, where political speech now has been criminalized.
Also, John Laurel claimed they have the ability to, quote, issue our own subpoenas, end quote. Mark Short, who served as a former chief of staff to a former Vice President Mike Pence, says the indictment could help Donald Trump's chances of re-election.
I don't think there's any doubt that the first two indictments have continued to rally Republican voters around Donald Trump. And I do think that because of the way he's presented, a lot of voters view him as a victim in this. And so it very well might.
This marks the second time the Department of Justice has indicted Donald Trump. One person is dead, 50 more injured after a bus crash near the Grand Canyon. It occurred at Grand Canyon West Tuesday morning in Arizona. CVS is laying off 5,000 employees, mainly corporate staff. The Mega Millions jackpot continues to soar after Tuesday night's drawing. No grand prize winner. The lack of a lucky ticket means the next drawing on Friday will be worth an estimated $1.25 billion. Local stories we're watching. 3 men have been transported to a local hospital after being shot on the south side Tuesday evening around 7 p.m. Chicago police are investigating after a mail carrier was reportedly shot in the 3200 block of North Kildare in the Kilbourne Park neighborhood Tuesday afternoon. And a woman is charged with armed bank robbery at a Bank of America branch in Kildare. The woman was found by police near Rand Road and Plum Grove Road, admitted her involvement, and approximately $20,000 in cash was recovered. The Cubs crushed 7 home runs in a 20-9 rout of the Reds at Wrigley Field. White Sox lost to the Rangers blanked 2-0. The news service of MyPillow, big news. The MyPillow employees want to thank you by giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows. Now only $19.98 with promo code LIBERTY. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk says the left is playing for keeps.
These are extra-constitutional organizations, efforts underway to stop you from having a voice. They detest you. They hate you. You're a Christian if you're a plumber. If you work with your hands, if you're an ordinary American, they hate your values. They hate everything you stand for, and they are playing for keeps. The 2024 election, they are playing for keeps.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Freedom Square is an unbelievable service designed to unite freedom-loving Americans. I know these guys. They love their country, and they're doing an amazing job. You can log on now to create your free personalized dashboard. All of your favorite news sites, podcasters, all on one site, all at your fingertips. Sign up your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with freedom-loving Americans. Look, people want businesses they can support. You want to know the good guys from the bad guys. That's freedomsquare.com. Log on right now and create your personalized dashboard. Join us in the fight, so check it out. freedomsquare.com. Freedom lives here.
Let's welcome our new Freedom Square Business Network members. Freedom's Journal Institute, Good Ranchers, Bull Valley Golf Club, and GiveSendGo.com. It's time to unite and vote with your dollars. Download the Freedom Square app and register your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with patriots. Freedom Square. Freedom lives here.
If you have a pension, you might not realize your lump sum payment changes every year when the plan is recalculated. Rising interest rates can actually cause your lump sum amount to drop in value. It might make sense to retire earlier than you planned, or you may end up with less money than you were expecting. Call the team at Scott Tucker Solutions to get a free pension analysis for your retirement. 847-474-3888 or go to 560retirement.com. You only have one chance to get this right. Mistakes could cost you tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Make sure you understand all your options before you make a decision with your pension. Call Scott Tucker Solutions and get your free, no-obligation pension analysis now. 847-474-3888 or go to 560retirement.com. That's 560retirement.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
5:39. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time will start on the Kennedy this morning, where it's 21 minutes. From O'Hare into the Burn Circle interchange, the Ike has a little bit of road construction on the California Avenue entrance ramp, causing some light delays. Stevenson inbound 29 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Bigger delays with ongoing ramp construction on I-55 southbound at Route 126. Dan Ryan Express lanes jammed up this morning already. Pershing Road into the Stevenson merge. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds and sunshine today, a little warmer, a high of 88. Patchy clouds, 69 overnight. Sun and clouds, humid tomorrow, high 87. We have a supermoon out there this morning and 70 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy talking about the Trump J6 indictment announced by Special Counsel Jack Smith yesterday. Taking your calls, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Apparently, the Democrats are banking on never having another Republican president and a Republican attorney general, Republican-nominated, appointed attorney general. Because the precedent they're setting will make it almost impossible, the political pressure, subsequent political pressure, make it almost impossible for a future Republican president to not look for retribution, according to the same standard that is being advanced by Jack Smith. Going to the Wall Street Journal, this indictment of Trump potentially criminalizes many kinds of actions and statements by a president that a prosecutor deems to be false. You don't have to be a defender of Donald Trump to worry about where this will lead. It will make any future election challenges, however valid, legally vulnerable to a partisan prosecutor. So those Democrats who protested the election results in 2016 or 2000 or 2004, get ready to be prosecuted for making false statements unless there is evidence that you can provide and prove in a court of law that the election results were erroneous. Because if they stand up and you said anything about them being the election being rigged or the results being fraudulent, then you're going to be charged federally, and we're going to have Republicans in the Department of Justice to make sure they do it. That is the pressure that is going to be on Republicans at the federal level after these indictments. So if that's the kind of country you want to live in, keep cheerleading this banana republic nonsense.
Because that's what this is. And I hope to God that Trump wins now, and when he gets in there, he investigates the Bidens. Go after Joe. Go after Hunter. Go after Jill if you have to. I don't care.
Well,
this pisses me off. I mean, the Biden. No, listen. Biden's DOJ won't indict Hunter. I mean, that's been under investigation for 5 years, but they can't bring the case against him because it will indict and bring down President Biden. There's different rules for different people.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm sick of it.
Well, if there's a Republican president in 2024, elected in 2024, there will be immense pressure. This is what I'm talking about. Immense pressure to go after every person in America whose last name is Biden. And if that's, as I said, that's the kind of country you want to live in, show me the man or the family and I'll find you the crime, then we're well on our way. Hooray!
3 indictments in 5 months. I mean, President Trump's due rights to process is being restricted. He's got a civil trial in New York, goes to trial in October. Mar-a-Lago documents case goes to trial next May. He's got some other hearing with pre-trial arguments in 3 months from now. I mean, he's trying to run for president, so that's why I think this is the ultimate election interference.
Jonathan Turley, our friend there from George Washington University, the law professor, offered more detailed assessment of this indictment, calling it facially ridiculous and explaining why.
Smith is willing to take a former president to court on a hope and a prayer. And I don't think he has a prayer. I think that ultimately, even if he can eke out a conviction, I cannot imagine how this would stand an appellate review unless he's withholding evidence that we haven't seen. I mean, this is a speaking indictment, but it doesn't say very much. It basically just says that we think Trump is lying, that he actually didn't believe this. I mean, I can't tell you how facially ridiculous this claim is. It starts out by saying, well, you know, of course you could say false things in a campaign, but then says, but Trump knew they were false. So is that the test going forward in terms of criminalizing political speech? The Supreme Court, in a case called Alvarez, said that a politician who had lied about military decorations could not be constitutionally prosecuted for those lies. So Smith is going to have to not just bulldoze through the First Amendment, he's going to have to bulldoze through a line of cases by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, no problem. Another one of those cases is Nixon v. Fitzgerald, which is a 1982 Supreme Court ruling that the president is, quote, entitled to absolute immunity from damages, liability predicated on his official acts. So lobbying his own Justice Department, Bill Barr and others, to investigate voter fraud, or even lobbying state officials to find fraud is arguably within a presidential's official duties. Thus, at most, it's a civil matter, not a criminal one. And that'll probably be one of the defenses that's offered by Trump's attorneys. But the larger point of principle that Turley makes is the key one. Vivek Ramaswamy, one of Trump's opponents, weighed in on this immediately. And by the way, Vivek does have a law degree from Yale, in case you're scoring at home. Here was his characterization of the indictment.
This is a politicized prosecution. It is a political persecution through prosecution. Now in a third indictment just in a matter of months against the person who is still at present the lead contender in the Republican primary for U.S. president. I want to be very clear. I am running for U.S. president in that same Republican primary. It would be easier for me if Donald Trump were eliminated from competition. That's not how I want to win. This is not about politics to me. This is about first principles. We do not want to become a country where the party in power is able to use banana republic-like tactics to eliminate its political opponents. Yet I'm sad to say that's exactly where we are.
Ramaswamy also,
good.
Yeah, it is good. He's a sharp cat. He also went on to offer a theory on this indictment and the genesis of the January 6th riot, or as Jack Smith calls it, attack. Interesting theory. Check this out.
I would not have made the same judgments that Donald Trump did in how he handled that day. But that's different from saying that he committed a crime. He did not. He specifically told the protesters that day to behave peacefully. The First Amendment in this country gives political protesters the ability to express themselves and their opinions freely. Donald Trump was not responsible for what happened on January 6th. You want to know what was responsible? I said this in the days after January 6, 2021, just as I say it today. Systematic, pervasive censorship in this country. That was after a year where we had told people across this nation that you had to stay locked down in your house, in your basement, and shut up, sit down, do as you're told. If you question that, you're racist, you're anti-science, your social media accounts were silenced. You had to stay home and lock down unless you were part of BLM or Antifa, in which case it was perfectly fine to roam the streets of this country and burn many of them down. That was the double standard that then applied and said that if you said the virus originated in a lab in Wuhan, you were again a racist and had your internet accounts shut down. You were then told you had an election where you could express yourself to put the right person in charge of fixing these problems, and instead, your accounts were suppressed if you sent a mere message saying that the Hunter Biden laptop story from the New York Post was real. You had your accounts locked. Even the New York Post had its own account locked. And if you repeatedly then tell people they cannot speak, that is when they scream. If you repeatedly tell people they cannot scream, that is when they tear things down. And I think we are making a grave mistake in this country by trying to pin the blame for that at the feet of one man.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also reach us on our text line, 64636. Type in DA and a quick comment.
Orlando, North Side. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. I was watching that phony journalist, David Murr, that comes out on prime time, and he was bashing Trump for about 10 minutes. Nothing about Hunter Biden, nothing about the Biden family. I think this is all really disgusting. I think it's a frame, and it's unfortunate in this country that we're not going to have free speech if this continues, just like they're doing in Canada. That's pretty much what I have to say.
Thanks for the call, Orlando. Jason, Northlake.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
Morning.
This all started with Barack Obama came in, showing Washington D.C. how things get done in Chicago with weaponizing the IRS, and now they look at what China's done as far as the suppression of free speech, and it just escalates more and more. And the leftists, they have this religion of the government, so that's why they go absolutely nuts when you attack their church, which is the capital of Washington, D.C., because now you've defiled their God. But at the same token, they're perfectly fine destroying the cities because they've been trained in the fact that they are the haves, that the people that are in the cities are the haves, and the people destroying the cities are the have-nots, and they're entitled to take what the others have.
Thanks for the call, Jason. I'm not even sure that, that there's, I think that a lot of the overwrought reaction to January 6th is performative. That January 6th was the best thing that could have ever happened to the Democrats, and they seized it. They saw it as an opportunity, and they've seized it all the way to yesterday's indictment, haven't they?
They'll never let it go. I'm surprised they didn't make it a national holiday, to be honest.
Steve and Roselle.
Yeah, I agree with Ramaswamy that we are at the stage of being a banana republic. It's not like we are. And so I checked the number of days that it took to have President Musharraf arrested in Pakistan after he left office. And it turns out he had more time. He had 37% more time before they arrested him. So we're actually at a lower rate, in a lower stage than Pakistan.
Thanks for the call, Steve. Jim LaGrange.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. There's also another component to this. I was listening to KT McFarland yesterday, and she said that Donald Trump has spent at least $60 million on his attorneys to date, and that by the time this is over, it's going to be well into the 9 figures for him. So, it's bad enough that they're going after him for crimes he didn't commit, but then to punish him financially as well. And she said, even for billionaires, that kind of money hurts. So just another quick point there.
Thanks for the call, Jim. Although a lot of that money is coming out of funds raised through his campaign. But nonetheless, it's still the opportunity cost of having to spend tens of millions of dollars in legal defense rather than tens of millions of dollars raised on your campaign messaging in addition to the personal costs. There's no question.
Got a text message. Dan and Amy, we're in the twilight zone. Imagine a world where opposition speech gets you censored, even indicted.
Tom in Deer Park.
Well, hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Thank you for taking my call. I love listening to this radio station, and I love this show. And I look forward to the morning where after Donald Trump shoots you on Fifth Avenue, you come on the next morning and defend him. This has been going on for 8 years. It never gets old, and I'm here to listen to this stuff so you can pander to these morons every day.
Thanks for the call, Tom. The funny thing about Tom in Deer Park is he pretends to be this great constitutionalist, this man who believes in the founding principles, who will call out Biden's and the left. This is a lot of these these sort of never Trump fashionistas. He and Adam Kinzinger are patriots. You know how you know? Because they tell you. And yet the response you get to something as substantial as the precedent-setting nature of this indictment and the founding principles of our country that the indictment implicates is the sort of flippancy that you just heard from Tom in Deer Park. Unserious people who are unconcerned about any principle, any restraint on government being violated as long as it's in furtherance of Trump. I don't particularly care for Trump, the man. I haven't ever since I read The Art of the Deal 30 years ago. I said it during his campaign in 2016, which is why I was with Scott Walker. And then when it came down to Trump and Cruz, I was with Cruz. And then when it came down to Trump and Hillary, well, that's an easy choice. I was with Trump, of course. And then you watch what somebody does and you assess them on their behavior. And we've gone through those assessments over that period of time. I don't need to restate them. And so I guess people have to decide if that's the reasonable position to take or if Tom from Deer Park represents the reasonable position. Do you unconcerned any implications about scrambling the resources of the federal government to do what it is doing in the direction of Trump and Trump associates and, frankly, people who committed nonviolent crimes on January 6th? No concerns about any of that. No thought that it could boomerang on them or people they like. No concern about the continuing disintegration of the founding principles to which they so to which they profess they so jealously cling. It's really sickening, actually. Greg and Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Ramaswamy just went up another incredible number of points with the American public. I've never been so proud of a fellow Cincinnatian than him. This indictment should be referred to as the 1984 indictment, meaning that if you go with Ramaswamy's thinking in the first principles that he referred to, what he's saying, as you have detailed, is you can't disagree with that which is the position of the establishment deep state. And if you do, you do it at your own peril. And lastly, Dan, my question to you is this. On a practical level, if when he walks into court tomorrow and he is told that he has to go to jail, is there any way, first of all, can that happen? And the second thing is, can it be appealed or can anything be done? Thanks.
Thanks for the call. If
Julie Kelly alluded to that yesterday.
I mean, if they tried to hold him over for trial, pretrial detention, there's going to be a lot of Raquel Welch posters sent to Red in that federal prison so he can get a rock hammer and get it over to Donald Trump at minimum. I mean, I cannot. We talked about it with Julie Kelly, right? You just mentioned, but I cannot fathom that the prosecution would move for pretrial detention. I cannot fathom that a judge would agree to pretrial detention. Sure, it could be appealed, but I mean, that would be an unbelievable moment. You think that we're circling over rock bottom right now? We would hit it and be digging at that point. The reaction to that?
Well, there'd be riots or protests, excuse me.
Paul and Worth, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yes, because of the proceedings on January 6th, the Capitol was a restricted area, and yet not one of these heroes, not the Sergeant at Arms, not Pelosi, not the Capitol Police Commander, not Schumer, not the FBI detail at the Capitol, when the crowd was amassing, said, close the doors and lock the doors. If that order had been issued to lock the doors, we wouldn't be talking about this today.
Paul, we don't even know from Chris Wray doesn't even know if there were any FBI agents and confidential informants on the scene on January 6th, and if so, how many? Still doesn't know 2.5 years later. The things we don't know about January 6th. We don't know what the sergeants at arms communicated to Pelosi and McConnell, communicated to Capitol Police. We don't know a whole host of things, but we're just to accept the narrative that they prevented a coup and everybody's a hero and Donald Trump attempted to overthrow the federal government with MAGA world. That's what you're supposed to believe, and if you don't believe it, then Jack Smith is going to indict you. All right, coming up at 6:06, we'll cover what the D.C. press corps doesn't want to, Biden Incorporated, because there's more developments on that front. 6:06.
And watch Andrea Mitchell run. Today, sunny, a high of 89 degrees. It is now 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Conspiracy to defraud the United States. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's one of the 4 charges against former President Trump in a new indictment related to the Capitol riot and efforts to overturn the election.
The attack on our nation's Capitol on January 6th, 2021 was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy.
Special counsel Jack Smith, an arraignment set for tomorrow.
This is the 3rd criminal indictment against former President Trump. He also faces 40 federal felony charges in the classified documents case in Florida, also brought by the special counsel, and 34 counts of falsifying business records brought against him in New York. And now this federal indictment out of Washington, D.C.
As Fox's Brooke Sigmund, the former president, posted on social media, it's a ridiculous case, and they waited to bring it to interfere in the 2024 election. One of his rivals, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, reacted saying he would end the weaponization of government. Vivek Ramaswamy tells Fox,
I think it's important for those of us competing against Trump to take a strong stand against these politicized indictments.
Some of the other Republican candidates are more critical. Ex-Vice President Mike Pence posted anyone who puts himself above the Constitution should not be president. Chris Christie wrote Trump violated his oath and brought shame to the presidency. A U.S. soldier has died on a highway in Germany. The military says his armored vehicle was hit by a truck. Russia keeps taking aim at Ukraine grain with more drone attacks.
Russia's targeting Ukraine's ports until recently used to export grain to the world under a deal with the UN. Authorities say a grain silo and port infrastructure were hit in the Odessa region near the border with Romania.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Russian leader Vladimir Putin just said he would sign back onto that deal to let Ukraine export grain if the West meets its obligations. Mega Millions is getting even more mega. Nobody hit the jackpot again last night, so it grows to $1.25 billion. Friday, the 6th largest U.S. lottery prize ever. America's listening to Fox News. 70 degrees, 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 3 have been transported to a local hospital shot on the south side last night around 7:15 p.m. in the 1300 block of South Springfield. A 33-year-old man remains in critical condition. And Chicago police are investigating after a mail carrier reportedly has been shot, 3200 block of North Kildare. It happened Tuesday afternoon in the Kilbourne Park neighborhood. Mail carrier was transported to Illinois Masonic in stable condition. Northwestern University hiring former U.S. Attorney Loretta Lynch to lead an independent review of the university and its athletic department. The hiring is in response to alleged hazing scandal involving the football program that expanded to unproven allegations of abuse and bullying on other teams. Chicago Public Schools dealing with a bus driver shortage less than 3 weeks before school starts. In a letter to parents, CPS says they've filled only about half of their driver positions. Chicago's Shedd Aquarium will get a $500 million facelift.
The plan is a $500 million investment in programs, community partnerships, new galleries, and more.
All of the planned upgrades will be finished by 2030, and the aquarium will stay open throughout the project. Cubs, 7 home runs in a 20-9 rout of the Reds at Wrigley. The 54 and 53 Cubs did designate slugger Trey Mancini for assignment yesterday. The lifeless White Sox managed just 3 hits in a 2-0 loss to the Rangers. Orioles adding an experienced arm to the starting rotation right at the trade deadline, acquiring righty Jack Flaherty from the Cardinals in exchange for prospects. The news, a service of Protect and Grow with Tim Stearns. Tune in Saturdays at noon and enjoy weekly discussions to a secure retirement. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
The best conversations happen with a cigar in one hand and a fine drink by Blue Star Security.
Are you a business owner with a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, and a plan for growth, but you just need the right bank? Hi, Mike Gallagher here, letting you know that Signature Bank is all about going the distance for commercial banking customers. It's what Signature Bank does every day. Their team understands that accessibility is key to their culture. In times like these, you want a bank that is there for you to weather the bad times and capitalize on the good. And with Signature Bank by your side, you can't go wrong. It's a true partnership. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right. I'm a customer. I believe in what they have to offer, from innovative tech and customized solutions to help your business grow and thrive. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to 3 key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Springfield area attorneys. 2815 Old Jacksonville Road, Suite 103, Springfield, Illinois, 62704. CordellCordell.com.
Country music superstars are taking the Illinois Lottery Grandstand stage at this year's Illinois State Fair. Kicking it all off is record-breaking award winners Old Dominion on Friday night, August 11th, with special guest Alexandra Kay.
I don't want to be one-man band.
Megastar Tim McGraw hits the stage on Thursday night, August 17th, with special guest Landon Parker.
Always stay humble and kind.
And Grammy winner Maren Morris will bring hit after hit on Saturday night, August 19th. Tickets are on sale now 24/7 at Ticketmaster.com, the Ticketmaster app, or at the Grandstand ticket office during regular business hours. And don't forget to add your pre-show party tickets for only $30. Party before the show and be the first ones into the Grandstand. Act now. Don't miss these country powerhouses at the 2023 Illinois State Fair, August 10th through the 20th.
7 worried about basement flooding? Time to call Permaseal. 800-421-SEAL. Let's check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. Inbound Eden, 16 minutes. Lake Cook Road to the junction. Now the Kennedy is at 30 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike right now, 40 minutes from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson, 30 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Bishop Ford jamming between 103rd and the Ryan Merge. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Today, clouds and sun. It'll be warm, high near 88. For tonight, partly cloudy, low 69. Sunny clouds, humidity tomorrow, the high 87. And then partly sunny, nice day on Friday, a less humid afternoon, the high Friday 81. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
69 at O'Hare. Next news at 6:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and other news outside of the Trump indictment. We have the continuing fallout from the Devin Archer testimony on Monday and the continuing unearthing of interesting facts about Biden Incorporated. This with respect to the IRS investigation, IRS FBI investigation, David Weiss's investigation, really, the U.S. Attorney, Delaware. Gary Shapley, the one of the IRS whistleblowers, the supervisory agent. Ziegler's the case agent. Both whistleblowers. He said yesterday the FBI spooked a retired supervisory agent out of telling Congress all he knows about an alleged cover-up in the criminal investigation of baby boy Hunter. Jason Jones, FBI general counsel, wrote a warning letter to the recently retired agent that Shapley's referring to the afternoon before his July 17th deposition before the House Oversight Committee, advising him, this retired agent, not to share any information about any, quote, deliberations or ongoing investigative activity. Shapley characterizing that, basically saying he was given a letter the Sunday before from DOJ, Sunday before testifying, basically telling him not to talk. I know that he could have confirmed additional material facts on the investigation, and he did confirm the FBI headquarters notifying the transition team and Secret Service about a planned Hunter Biden interview attempt in December of 2020. But really, that was the only thing he was able to speak about because he essentially, Shapley argues, got the gag order direction from Jason Jones, the FBI general counsel. So, if you want to ask questions about how we got here, you need to also include questions about what they're doing to try to prevent us from getting answers about how we got here. It goes on. And this, the press corps is reporting on this. The New York Times reported yesterday, quote, "It has long been known that the elder Mr. Biden at times interacted with his son's business partners."
Oh, really?
Long been known.
Oh, it has been. I thought this was Russian collusion at first, that we were crazy for even bringing it up.
It's long been known and never reported. Our friend Will Riley over at Kentucky State University retweeted at me after I posted this. It had long been known that we were always at war with East Asia, which is a wonderful 1984 reference. Long been known and never reported.
No, they just changed the narrative. Now they say, yes, he did talk to the business partner, but it was only about the weather. It was pleasantries, Dan.
Joe Biden never had business relations with those men. Joe Biden, in advance of the 2020 election, a little flashback for you, about all the things that are not a big deal. So, the 3 years plus of lying, not a big deal, and now we're just going to recharacterize. Of course we knew that. What are you talking about? Of course we know that. So stipulated. What else do you got? Certainly you don't have any evidence. Joe Biden, the Axios interview, we played it on this show, but it bears a reintroduction. This is before he's elected in 2020.
To serve on the board of a Ukrainian energy company facing serious corruption charges, you were the vice president running point on Ukraine. The average Joe hears that and says, that sounds fishy. What's your understanding of what your son was doing for an extraordinary amount of money?
I don't know what he was doing. I know he was on the board. I found out he was on the board after he was on the board, and that was it. And there's nobody...
Well, you've had a lot of time. Isn't this something you want to get to the bottom of?
No, because I trust my son.
But that doesn't pass the smell test. Like when you're vice president, isn't there a higher standard? Don't you need to know what's happening with your family? Don't you need to put down some guardrails?
Unless there was something something on its face that was wrong. There's nothing on its face that was wrong. So look, if you want to talk about problems, let's talk about Trump's family.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, come on. This is...
So
These guys are amazing.
So you think that everything that happened was kosher?
You know there's not one single bit of evidence, not one little tiny bit, to suggest anything done was wrong. You know that. but you keep asking me these questions. It's okay. You're doing what you have to do. But I'm not worried about it. Look, the American public knows me.
Last one on this. Say you're elected, you're in office. What guardrails would you have to be sure that your son, your brother Jimmy, doesn't do anything to trade on the family name?
They will not be engaged in any foreign business because of what's happened in this administration. No one's going to be seeking patents for things from China. No one's going to be engaged in that kind of thing.
So no foreign business for your relatives in office?
Well, that'd be interesting to look up, too, to see if there's any foreign business dealings from January of 2021 forward from involving Jimmy Biden, brother, or even Hunter, despite all this scrutiny on Hunter. And the other Bidens, too, for that matter.
Yeah, there's 9 of them that were getting paid.
By the way, another...
For doing what work? What work were they doing?
Another, just aside here, we missed this. During the hearing in which the judge, Noriega, rejected the plea deal with Hunter, he was asked if he was a member of the bar, and he said, "Yes, Your Honor, District of Columbia and Connecticut, Your Honor." However, he doesn't have, he is not a member of the bar right now. He's suspended in Connecticut for failing to pay his annual dues to maintain his license. $75. Couldn't come up with it. This guy's a great businessman.
What a loser.
All right, but now you heard from Joe,
yes,
the big guy, Mr. 10%, back in 2020, and New York Times. Of course, he had communications with people that Hunter also knows. This has been known for a long time, but as Dan Goldman told us after Devin Archer's testimony, the Democrat congressman from New York, he's just being courteous. What are you going to do? Not say hi to your son's friends? That wouldn't be very nice. And if you think Dan Goldman's the only one who can say that with a straight face, you'd be wrong, because that's where the press corps is going now. It literally is. I'm expecting the next statement to be Joe Biden never had business relations with those men. Eugene Robinson, associate editor of the Amazon Post. Listen to this characterization of what we know now, what has been confirmed by Hunter Biden's closest associates. Now, I know Devin Archer's a convicted felon, so we shouldn't believe him, but we also have other evidence like emails that, some would suggest would prompt more questions and more interest in this whole area of influence peddling. But I know that's of no interest to the D.C. press corps because, all of this is attached to a difficult time in the Biden family. And you know how important family is to Pops Biden. And so, again, this is a nothing burger. Not only do I am declaring nothing burger.
Yeah, they're trying to create a scandal, or at least the appearance of a scandal, the sort of smokiness of a scandal, and just create that atmosphere without actual evidence and without an actual scandal, because I think it's pretty clear, at least so far, there is nothing there. There is nothing there. You could certainly argue that at some point, if Hunter Biden put President Biden on the speakerphone for like 20 times, you could certainly ask whether at some point President Biden might have said, "Hey, quit putting me on speakerphone. Are you having a business meeting? Like, what is that about?" But but the context is that this was a sort of very fraught and sad time for the Biden family, and we know how important family is to the president. And so, do you hang up on your phone, on your son at any time, but certainly at a moment like that? And probably the answer is no.
Oh my God! They think no one else has ever grieved before. I mean, that is comical. Yeah, President Biden, the family man, who on a Friday afternoon tells a tabloid magazine that, oh yeah, now we're going to acknowledge that we have a 7th grandchild.
There's nothing there. IRS whistleblowers, including a self-identified gay Democrat, FBI supervisory agents, the emails.
Yeah, the FBI document dump on June 8th that said Biden took $5 million in bribe money.
The attempted plea bargain. The distribution of income derived from foreign nationals, mainly from states that are adverse to America's interests. Nothing there. Beau Biden died in 2015, and it's just been grieving by his son's condition. He had cancer prior to and since. And so, of course, he's not going to hang up on baby boy Hunter. Right, he had no idea. Hunter's just calling him out of the blue saying, hey, Dad, I want you to meet some of my friends like the super chairman.
Well, yeah, you call your dads to meetings, right? I don't call my dad when I have a meeting. I'm sure you don't either. And we're still celebrating Hunter's sobriety.
I do call my dad for a meeting when I'm telling him we're having a meeting and I need to show them that I have access to you. So pick up the phone.
Larry.
The super chairman, Che Fang. Devin Archer, Hunter Biden told business partner Devin Archer that the Chinese tycoon who helped them secure a multi-million-dollar venture in the communist state loved him for his last name. That would be Biden.
Mm-hmm.
And for always traveling with, quote, handsome, godlike Aryan man, according to emails reviewed by Fox Digital.
Yeah, from 2011 email thread.
Fang is the one.
Archer.
Fang is the one who helped Rosemont Seneca Partners secure their partnership with Bohai Capital in order to launch a joint venture, which is now controlled by the Bank of China. And oh, by the way, John Kerry's stepson was also involved in that.
Christopher Hines. But where is he in all this? I'm surprised that there's been no charges against him. But Che Fang is the one who also asked Biden to write a recommendation letter for his daughter to get into Brown University.
Buy a cell phone from a 7-Eleven or CVS tomorrow, and I'll do the same, Hunter told Devin Archer at the end of through email in 2014 once they got appointed to the Burisma board. There's nothing here. They're trying to invent a scandal where none exists, says associate editor of the Amazon Post, Gene Robinson, who is a mainstay on Morning Joe and these leftist cable talk shows.
And he's so smug. They're insulting our intelligence all over again, or trying to.
Rusty and Rosemont.
Hey, Amy and Dan, good morning. Great show as usual. It's just frustrating. It feels like Hillary Clinton all over again, where Hillary did a bunch of stuff. There's plenty of proof, and the press didn't talk about it. There's no ramifications for her. I mean, is anything actually going to happen here?
Thanks for the call, Rusty. No reasonable prosecutor would pursue the case against Hillary Clinton. That's what Jim Comey told us.
And people died. I mean, I don't know what's worse, but Chris Stevens is dead and 2 others, and she could have helped out, and she didn't do anything.
Well, okay, but that's separate and distinct from 2016. We're not talking about Benghazi. Right. We're talking about her trafficking and her setting up an entire system to go around any sort of restrictions with respect to classified information when she was Secretary of State, wiping the server, destroying evidence. Those things today are called obstruction of justice. Today are called conspiracy to defraud. Today are violations of the Presidential Records Act and so on. It's nothing burger back then, just like Biden is a nothing burger right now. Yeah, it's a good parallel, actually. Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. It would be bad enough if all of this were just about corruption in the White House and Hunter and the Biden crime family getting away, which I think they will with all of this. The worst part, you already hinted about it in the lead up to taking a few more phone calls. The worst part about this is that his absolution in the press, by the press, nobody curious, and as well as the DOJ and the deep state. There is an administrative state. We're watching it. We're watching it. We're watching them wreck our country with millions of illegals coming across the border, with the clown Pritzker signing that law that actually will permit policemen to be illegal immigrants. So you could be arrested theoretically by one of these illegals, one of these dodging people. You could be pulled over and arrested. He's wrecking the country. All of this is horrible. I contend that all of this is actually, yes, it started by Obama. I also believe that if you follow not just the money, but the desire to wreck the country, you can follow that right back to Obama's lying, stoned head. It's he who is directing all of this. Biden's always been a useful idiot. He still is. He's barely in control of his own anything. Follow everything. The money, the power, the desire to wreck the country. It's sitting right in Obama's lap.
Thanks, Ralph.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.
I'm Sergeant Gary Carr, police firearms trainer and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training. We'll arm you with what really counts, knowledge and training. All concealed carry curriculums are not created equal. This may be the single most important decision you'll ever make for yourself and your loved ones. Choose between 3 and 16-hour classes that are available both weekdays and weekends. We are your one-stop for concealed carry classes, fingerprints, and legal defense plans.
Register for a class today and get 10% off class fees with promo code AM560. Visit IllinoisConcealedCarry.com. That's IllinoisConcealedCarry.com.
Oh, I look forward to it every day, taking Balance of Nature. Why? Not getting enough fruits and veggies on my own, and that's where Balance of Nature comes in. There's 31 whole fruits and vegetables in those bad boys. I bet you can't even name 31 different fruits and veggies. But what they do is they take the fruits and vegetables, they're powdered after an advanced vacuum cold process, which stabilizes the maximum nutrient content. Real food, real science, real nutrition. So get the nutrition your body needs and get the nutrition your body craves. It's the foundation of all aspects of health. And when you give your body the best possible fuel, really, you have more energy, you're stronger, and you think more quickly. So call this number, 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Be sure to use discount code Chicago, 35% off first-time customers and free shipping. Or go online to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
We all know Joe Biden isn't getting the job done and too often is making things worse.
That's conservative business leader Doug Burgum, one of America's most successful governors. Raised with small-town values, Burgum built a billion-dollar company, creating thousands of jobs. As governor of North Dakota, Doug Burgum cut taxes, balanced the budget, and helped pass term limits.
Where we come from, when something isn't working, you stop and you try something new. That's common sense. Joe Biden has got to go.
As president, Doug Burgum will unleash American energy and end Biden's inflation. He'll secure the border to stop the flow of illegal drugs, and Burgum will rebuild our military to win the Cold War with China.
Do you believe that the economy, energy, and national security are critical to our nation's future? Remember, that's why I'm running for president.
Best of America PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.bestofamericapac.com.
You've decided to remodel your kitchen or bathroom. Okay, the search is on. Who can you trust to give you a great remodel at a fair price?
I ask that you would give us a chance to work with you to have a quality, stress-free kitchen or bath remodel. This is Javen Aldana. My company is Aldana & Son. That's right, we're a family business and we share the same values as you. I am deeply involved in every aspect of your remodel. Realtors love our company too. They know we can get it done as soon as possible and make it fabulous. A happy customer is the only way we do business. You want referrals and reviews? No problem. We stand by our work. We take it personally. Kitchen or bathroom remodels, small or large, we have you covered. Go to remodelingforme.com. That's remodelingforme.com. Aldana & Son. Just under 25 years of happy customers. Let's make you the next one. Go to remodelingforme.com. That's remodelingforme.com.
Sean Thompson here for my friend Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth. There aren't many people who would knowingly leave their job to start another job for a 30% cut in pay. And yet, people do it every day when they enter retirement. Why enter the exciting new chapter of your life with less money? Why trade the stress of work for more stress in retirement? Tom Fortino of Alpha Wealth Group can help. Just call Tom at 630-934-1855 for your complimentary, customized retirement plan. It addresses many of the big questions you may have, like what to do about Social Security, managing your investments, and how to create income you can never outlive. You can downsize your house, but don't downsize your lifestyle. Get a complimentary, customized retirement plan at 630-934-1855 or visit alphawealthgroup.com. That's alphawealthgroup.com.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, RWA, an SEC registered investment advisor. RWA and Alpha Wealth Group are independent of each other. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk public safety at the local level with Maury Richards. He's a former police chief in West Virginia, and he worked for 24 years as an officer and lieutenant in the Chicago Police Department. Perspective from Maury Richards at 6:36.
But now let's head into that newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
632, 69 degrees, and right now we have sunshine. Special Counsel Jack Smith says the 2021 rioting at the U.S. Capitol, in his opinion, was fueled by lies told by former President Donald Trump.
The attack on our nation's capital on January 6th, 2021, was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. As described in the indictment, it was fueled by lies.
A lawyer for former President Trump says now his legal team will relitigate every single issue in the 2020 election in response to yesterday's Trump indictment.
It's a terribly tragic day that we find ourselves in, where political speech now has been criminalized.
Jack Smith announced Tuesday that Donald Trump had been charged with conspiring to defraud the U.S., disenfranchise voters, and attempting to obstruct certification of results. This morning, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is claiming that the Justice Department is using the latest indictment as a distraction. Our Mark Mayfield is in Washington.
In a social media post Tuesday, McCarthy about President Biden and his son Hunter, whose business dealings have been the subject of recent GOP-led investigations. The speaker called it a two-tiered system of justice. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Poland is sending troops to its eastern border today with Belarus, accusing its neighbor of violating its airspace with military helicopters. Tensions are high between Poland, a NATO member, and supporter of Ukraine, and Belarus, a Russian ally. A powerful typhoon has slammed Okinawa. 30 have been injured. Union leaders have told striking Hollywood writers they'll plan to meet with representatives of studios to discuss restarting negotiations as soon as Friday. A convicted child murderer is dead, executed by the state of Missouri last night. The prison director reading a part of Governor Mike Parson's statement to the media about 45-year-old Johnny Johnson.
Johnny Johnson's crime was one of the most horrific murders that has come across my desk. Casey was an innocent girl who bravely fought Johnson until he took her life.
He was charged for the kidnapping of 6-year-old Casey Williamson back in 2001. Casey Williamson was brutally murdered at an abandoned glass factory near St. Louis. 3 men have been arrested. 3 men have been transported to a local hospital after being shot on the south side Tuesday night. A man, a 33-year-old, remains in critical condition, while Chicago police are investigating after a mail carrier reportedly has been shot in the 3200 block of North Kildare in the Kilbourne Park neighborhood. The Postal Inspection Service is offering a $50,000 reward for information, leading to an arrest. A woman who was shot during a road rage incident on DuSable Lakeshore Drive over the weekend has died. Cook County Medical Examiner identified the woman as 37-year-old Nancy Padilla of Chicago. Cubs belt 7 home runs in a 20-9 rout of the Reds at Wrigley Field. Dansby Swanson homered twice. Cubs have won 9 of 11. White Sox blanked by the Rangers 2-0. The Bears bringing in some depth on their defensive line, claiming defensive tackle Bravion Roy off waivers from the Panthers. The news, a service of MyPillow. Queen-size MyPillow's regular price from MyPillow is $69.98, but now $19.98 with promo code Liberty. Visit MyPillow.com. Use promo code Liberty. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
The Sean Thompson Show.
There are millions upon millions of people of good character going to good states and low-rent Democrat scum going to Democrat states. After all, that's where they thrive. This is where this is acceptable. And it's being put as something that's normal. It's normal now to be an outright thief, scumbag, traitor to your country.
The Sean Thompson Show. Weekday afternoons at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I think it's just a really good idea, simply because I have such a busy schedule that I can't always take care of all of my nutritional needs in the proper ways. I really like it. It's quite nice. I would say that I have more energy. I'm sleeping really well. With my schedule, I don't get quite enough sleep sometimes. And when that happens, I still can manage to have a normal day the following day. So I'm pretty well pleased with it.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. This week only, we're extending our special travel offer. Right now, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Call 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
Are you considering a unique way to enhance your investment knowledge this year? Then sign up today for the all-inclusive Eagle Financial Publications Cruise. Along with our trusted partner, The Money Show, we're setting sail this December to explore some of the most beautiful and unspoiled destinations in the Caribbean. But this is no ordinary vacation. It's a chance to learn from top Eagle Financial experts like best-selling authors George Gilder, Mark Skousen, and others who will be hosting a series of workshops and seminars throughout the trip. Imagine lounging on the sun deck while discussing investment strategies with like-minded individuals, or enjoying a gourmet dinner at the same table with one of our leading financial authorities. This once-in-a-lifetime cruise is a perfect way to combine education and relaxation to achieve your investment goals. This cruise will sell out quickly, so visit EagleFinancialCruise.com today to learn more and to secure your cabin. That's EagleFinancialCruise.com. Eagle Financial is a division of Salem Media Group.
6:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A service of Irish Spring. The fresh scent of Irish Spring and those sensational suds, well, they're just the reset you need to own the day. You're ready. Pick up Irish Spring at your local retailer today. Inbound Edens, right now setting at 20 minutes, Lake Cook Road to the junction. 51 minutes on the Kennedy inbound from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike right now in from the Manheim area to the old post office in about 30 minutes, while the Stevenson a full 50 in from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. DuSable Lakeshore Drive has a stalled vehicle left center lane blocking traffic northbound right at Balbo. You have stop and go traffic up from Roosevelt. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds and sunshine, a high of 88. Well, Apache clouds and a low of 69 overnight. More humid tomorrow. 69 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. This piece in the most recent edition of Chicago Magazine, Illinois is the most progressive state. That's a feature, not a bug, to Chicago Magazine. And to majority of the state's population, clearly, based on our
based
elected
on
officials.
electing BLM Brandon.
Illinois has become the most progressive state in the union. Just look at the
Yay.
summer our governor is having. It's bigger than Chicago. Last month, the state Supreme Court ruled the Safety Act constitutional, making Illinois the first state to eliminate cash bail.
Yay.
On Monday, Jelly Belly doubled down, expanding access to abortion, announcing $23 million in grants to clinics experiencing a surge in demand from our neighboring states. Look at the summer our mayor is having, launching a progressive agenda that includes eliminating the sub-minimum wage for tip workers and raising real estate taxes on million-dollar homes.
Yeah, to help pay for home shelters for homeless people, housing for homeless people, because they really want to be housed.
Actually, just look at our mayor. A union organizer ran on a platform of making the rich pay their fair share. Johnson is the most left-wing big city mayor in the United States. He doesn't call himself a socialist, but his city council floor leader, alderhuman Carlos Ramirez Rosas, sure does. Everything about this is correct. It's just the author, Chicago Magazine, Ed McClelland, of course, is celebrating this. And so how did Illinois become the most progressive state in the country? And by that euphemism I despise, a Marxist state in the country, because that's what it is. Well, you see, Chicago being the financial and cultural capital of the Midwest, and as the author argues, winning in the 21st century global economy at the expense of surrounding states. Is that what's happening? I don't know about that. But we're attracting young college graduates from those conservative small towns in Wisconsin, Indiana, Iowa, and Missouri that want to move to Chicago, not because they want to, go out to bars and restaurants in West Loop, but because they want to be surrounded by Marxist activists. During the mayoral campaign, McClellan writes, the most dedicated BLM Brandon volunteer I met was Jonathan Nagy, a 33-year-old queer artist who moved to Chicago from his hometown in Ohio in 2016, just like Tony just like
Mayor Lightfoot.
Yeah, Lightfoot, yeah. Preckwinkle, Minnesota, right? Yeah. A small town Ohio is not a great place to be queer or an artist. I love the haughty attitude towards small town America. Right? It's like the entire state of Florida. Anybody who doesn't live in Chicago or a big metropolitan area, these are sort of your anti-vax, don't say gay, mouth breathing,
Trump lovers. Yeah.
Yeah, right. They're these bumpkins that don't understand the ways a big city live in.
Kamala Harris said farmers, they don't know how to get driver's license.
Fax machine? They can't use a fax machine.
That's right.
They don't know how to get a fax. They don't know how to use a fax machine. Well, nobody has a fax machine anymore, Miss Vice President. This queer artist settled in Logan Square because he was looking for a political community and wanted intentional spaces to meet my neighbors.
Intentional spaces.
Yeah. Well, and this is why a lot of people are leaving Chicago, is because they want intentional spaces not to meet Jonathan Nagy. It's all good. Oh, I mean, except for economic opportunities, and that's correlated to fiscal policies, but it's also correlated to public safety. There's not much mention of that in this piece, while Mr. McClelland is celebrating Illinois being the first state to eliminate cash bail. Interesting. Sort of glosses over that. For more on the Xanadu that is Chicago and Illinois, according to Chicago Magazine, pleased to be joined by Maury Richards, former chief of the Martinsburg, West Virginia Police Department. He also worked for 24 years as an officer and lieutenant in the Chicago Police Department and holds a doctorate in adult education from NIU. Maury Richards, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Thank you.
You ever get back to Chicago?
I do. I still have a couple of kids and grandkids and a bunch of good friends I made over the years. So, yeah, I do.
So what's your...
I'm actually...
Yeah, so...
I actually living in Columbia, Missouri now.
So one of those... Oh, geez, backwater.
So
yeah, just unsophisticated. You're unenlightened now.
Heck.
Yeah, you used to be enlightened. Now you're not enlightened. Give us some perspective then. 24 years on the force here, and then also obviously working in other jurisdictions. What have you seen? How would you characterize what Chicago is today versus maybe when you started on the force? Both as an officer and with what the police department is today, and then what the larger city is.
Sure, Dan. Well, as I'm sure you're well aware, it's like night and day. I came on CPD in 1991, actually after a career in a steel mill on the southeast side of Republic. And what happened in 91 really mirrored what was going on in New York, LA, that there was a tremendous surge in anti-violence, starting, based on, broken windows theory, which really works, going after, quality of life crimes, coordinating that with what's known as ComStat, focusing in using computers and that type of intelligence to go after hotspots, taking out or targeting and putting in prison, very dangerous repeat offenders. And the results were amazing. Between 91, I'd say about, 2008, 2010, homicides were cut in half in Chicago, almost by 80% New York, and these cities became very safe. And, of course, that also connected with the community policing strategy where, officers were working the beat, had a lot of support within the community because they were solving problems. And one of the important things to realize is that the communities who benefited the most were primarily poor, Black, Hispanic communities, which had the most violence. So
right, and so let me talk about the quality of life thing, because we talk about murders and shootings for obvious reasons, but just this story. I was having dinner with a buddy of mine yesterday. He's got a Jeep Cherokee Trackhawk. He left it at apparently this is a popular car to steal. I don't know. He left it at the valet at O'Hare. He goes out of town. He comes back. No Trackhawk. Calls police. The valet called police because she knows him. There's a lot of police at O'Hare. Took an hour and 20 minutes for police to show up. And then the officer assigned to his case. He said, I want to go down and ultimately they captured the guy who stole his car. I want to go down and testify against him. He's like, that's a waste of time. The police officer now in the case telling him, It's a waste of time. First of all, the guy was out 3 hours after he was arrested, and you're not gonna he's charged with a misdemeanor, even though he's got a rap sheet. Charged with a misdemeanor for stealing a car out of the O'Hare Airport. He gets in a chase with police. He damages three other cars, and he totals my friend's car. Still only charged with misdemeanors. Just the backstory. And it's like, don't even bother. And then his daughter's like, don't go down there. He's going to get out, and his friends will be there. And if they don't get you at the courthouse, they'll track you to your home or something. Please leave it alone. You got the insurance money. Just walk away from it. And I understand that perspective. But to me, that whole experience he was describing is the quality of life issue that goes under discussed. We talk about the headline murders and mass shootings, and of course we should, but also just the everyday living in a place where lawlessness has taken hold. And so why would my friend go to Chicago? Why would my friend stay in Chicago? And he's not. He's a Florida resident now. And that's you just hear those stories over and over again, neighborhoods across the city, and that's just treated with a shrug of the shoulders by the powers that be.
Well, you're absolutely right, Dan. Everything that I mentioned, all that progress was totally abandoned. And what we have to realize is this was not incidental. It was not a mistake. What we've seen over the last 15 years in particular, in almost every major Democrat-run city where you have, hard left leadership. You mentioned Marxist. I'd also say it's part of a globalist, political perspective, really pushed by people like George Soros, with the ultimate goal to disintegrate our society, America as a civilization, on all levels. And, when you can undermine the rule of law and replace that with chaos, this is what you get. So, all this is intentional. You have, the eliminate cash bail movement, defund the police, demonization of police as, systemically racist, all those lies. And then you add into it the coordinated effort by George Soros, where he now has 80 state's attorneys across the country representing about 75 million population, and their sole purpose is not to put criminals in jail, but to keep them out. And this, in turn, has disastrous effects on police morale. You talked about these officers not showing up. Part of that is because every major department is short hundreds, sometimes thousands of officers. And the ones on the street, they hold back, because there's no support. These district attorneys would rather prosecute the police than a criminal.
But why, Mr. Richards, why does George Soros and these prosecutors, why do they want to release criminals on the streets? Why?
Well, ultimately, because his goal is to destroy Western civilization, United States in particular. And one of the easiest ways to unravel a society is to eliminate that rule of law and replace it with chaos and crime. And that's exactly what's happening. You see it on the southern border. You see it with legalization of drugs. You know, all these things Soros has a major hand in, and he's also, you know, connected with a number of other programs. I recently wrote an article that came out in the City Journal talking about the problems in Baltimore, which are very similar here in Chicago. And what the Biden administration has done, they're putting about $1 billion into these programs called group violence intervention, which basically they want to replace the police with social workers. And it's, you know, based on the premise, and the CDC backs this up, that violence and crime are so-called public health problems. In other words, it's not a decision that someone makes to commit a crime.
It's a virus. Yeah, right. That needs a bunch of federal and state and local money for violence interrupters. We saw that here. BLM Brandon, not your Brandon in Baltimore, Brandon Scott, but Brandon Johnson here, made the big announcement in advance of July 4th weekend about the violence interrupters that are going to be deployed and so on and so forth.
Sure.
And, you know, and 75 people were shot and 15 people were murdered, and it was just the normal state of affairs in Chicago. But the key point, too, is which you were talking about, their perspective, which I think people have a hard time believing. They always have a hard time ascribing bad motives to other people. But it's not even about bad motives. It's their ideology is more important to them than your country or your city. Their ideology, they will pursue their ideology to its disastrous ends because that is what they're attempting to do. It's all in furtherance of creating heaven on earth. And if there's destruction along the way, well, that's just the bumpy path to a better tomorrow. And that's what they sell. And unfortunately, a majority of the electorate in this city and state are buying it. Maury Richards, he's the former police chief in Martinsburg, West Virginia, also served on Chicago's police department for 24 years. Maury, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Did you know that St. John's Lutheran School in Lombard is the only school in the entire state of Illinois offering the renowned Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum? Attention parents in Lombard, Glen Ellen, Wheaton, Downers Grove, and surrounding areas. Are you searching for an exceptional educational experience for your child? Look no further than St. John's Lutheran K-8 School, where academic excellence meets strong Christian values. At St. John's, our partnership with Hillsdale College ensures that your child receives a rigorous K-8 academic experience. What sets St. John's apart is that we recognize the concerns many parents have about the radical woke agenda infiltrating public schools. That's why we're dedicated to providing a nurturing environment that promotes the Christian faith, traditional values, and critical thinking. The Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum, combined with our focus on our Christian faith and character development, will be a game changer for your child's K-8 education. Visit us online at stjohnslombard.com. Give your child or grandchild the gift of a faith-based Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum-based education. That's stjohnslombard.com.
America First with Sebastian Gorka. Today at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Attention taxpayers, ready for some bad news? With $80 billion in new funding from Congress, the IRS has launched their most aggressive hiring campaign ever to ramp up enforcement. If you're ignoring your taxes, don't delay another minute because your paycheck, your bank account, even your home or business could already be at risk. Now, here's the good news. Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm, can get to work immediately, helping to protect you from the IRS. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, their tax attorneys and licensed professionals are experts at resolving tax problems. Let them help determine if you qualify for the Fresh Start Initiative or other powerful IRS tax assistance programs. Take control. Call Optima Tax Relief now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com. On the AM 560 mobile app. Tune in, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
It's unprecedented. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump just posted that on Truth Social. The day after being indicted a third time, which he wrote has awoken the world to the corruption scandal and failure that's taken place the past 3 years, and he thanked all his supporters. Trump lawyer John Lauro tells Fox the new case related to the Capitol riot and attempts to overturn the election is
an attack on the First Amendment that should never be allowed in this country.
The former president will be arraigned tomorrow, facing 4 charges, including
conspiring to defraud the United States, conspiring to disenfranchise voters, and conspiring and attempting to obstruct an official proceeding.
That's Special Counsel Jack Smith, who's also already charged the former president in the classified documents case.
This sets an awful precedent in our country. They're going full banana republic, full third world on this.
That's Trump 2024 rival Vivek Ramaswamy, but a few other Republican presidential candidates are more critical.
Former Vice President Mike Pence, who's a central figure in all of this, said anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be president of the United States. We have former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie adding in, Trump, swore an oath to the Constitution. He violated his oath and brought shame to his presidency.
That's Fox's Doug Luzader. Pope Francis is in Portugal. He'll attend World Youth Day. He's also urging Europe to retake its role as a peacemaker and bridge builder. Stocks could drop. Futures are down after Fitch downgraded the U.S. credit rating.
The agency citing rising debt at the federal, state, and local levels. Fitch also says there's been a steady deterioration in standards of governance over the past 2 decades.
Fox's Tom Rigotti, that could cost taxpayers and drive up U.S. borrowing costs. Speaking of going up, Mega Millions is worth $1.25 billion now Friday, since you didn't hit the jackpot last night. No, I didn't. Nobody did. This will be the 6th biggest U.S. lottery prize ever. America's listening to Fox News. Sunshine and 69 degrees. 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 3 men have been transported to a local hospital. They were shot on the south side Tuesday night in the 1300 block of South Springfield. 2 men are in good condition. A 33-year-old is in critical condition. And Chicago police are investigating after a mail carrier was reportedly shot in the 3200 block of North Kildare in the Kilbourne Park neighborhood. Postal Inspection Service is now offering up to $50,000 for any information leading to an arrest and conviction. There are now formal charges against a man wanted for setting his girlfriend on fire in Kenosha, Wisconsin last weekend. The DA in Kenosha filed attempted homicide charges yesterday against Myron Bowie. He remains on the run, quite possibly here in the Chicago area. A West Suburban Aurora man who pleaded guilty to stabbing his ex-girlfriend is going to prison. Jose Avila has been sentenced to 7 years behind bars. Prosecutors say the defendant attacked his ex in January, stabbing her 3 times when she ordered him to leave her residence. Chicago's Shed Aquarium getting a facelift.
The plan is a $500 million investment in programs, community partnerships, new galleries, and more.
It's an 8-year transformation, all completed by 2030. Cubs 20-9 winners over the Reds at Wrigley Field. Dansby Swanson homered twice. The White Sox managed just 3 hits in a 2-0 loss to the Rangers. Iowa State quarterback Hunter Deckers this morning is in trouble with the NCAA, but more importantly, he's in trouble with the law. Deckers was criminally charged with illegal sports betting yesterday. One of his wagers allegedly being placed on an Iowa State football game. The news, a service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more, including your brands like Proft University. Go to 560theanswer.com/store. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka sees the story changing again.
He denied what? That he's ever discussed
his son's business dealings with Hunter Biden. Never discussed them. Now, it's suddenly what? He was never in business with his son.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
A day at the ballpark can add up. At Wintrust, we get it. That's why when you open a White Sox checking account from Wintrust Community Banks, you'll receive a $300 bonus with qualifying activities, free ATMs nationwide, and get your very own exclusive White Sox debit card. Score the ultimate Sox souvenir that helps pay for more Sox souvenirs. Get your Sox card today. Visit wintrust.com/Sox. Wintrust, proud partner of the Chicago White Sox. Only $100 required to open. No minimum monthly balance or maintenance fees. Member FDIC.
You're smart, you're busy, and don't have time to waste on the mainstream media cycle. Salem News Channel breaks that cycle. Topics that matter from hosts worth watching. Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Open debate and free speech you won't find anywhere else. Salem News Channel. Not like the other guys. Watch anytime on any screen. Free 24/7. Find everything you need to know at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
I'm Scott Trout, attorney and CEO of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. We help men deal with the life changes triggered by divorce, such as child custody and property division, among many others. But life changes also occur after divorce. These changes can make parts of your existing court order irrelevant. If you feel a modification to your court orders might be necessary, talk to us at Cordell & Cordell. We're a partner men can count on.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Springfield area attorneys. 2815 Old Jacksonville Road, Suite 103, Springfield, Illinois, 62704.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a very, very skeptical person, so I think even if it had started working sooner, I was like, no, it can't be just Balance of Nature. Till I finally gave in and said, you know what? I think it's the Balance of Nature. So somebody will say, oh, I noticed this, or you look really good today, or you such and such, and I go, I know, it's the Balance of Nature. I have fingernails that I've never had before. They're long and they're strong and they're wow.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. This week only, we're extending our special travel offer. Right now, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Call 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Fox Valley Coins. No waiting, no problems, no charge for in-store verbal appraisals. Bring your gold or silver in today. FoxValleyCoins.com. On the Kennedy 44 inbound from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike right now 49 from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson 51 minutes, 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. The Dan Ryan 23 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. I-80 Will County accident, right lane block. Couple of semis tangled westbound between Gauger and Chicago. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Sunshine and a few clouds today. Look for a high of 88. Partly cloudy for tonight and a low 69. Partly sunny, a bit humid tomorrow, the high 87. And then partly sunny, very nice day on Friday, a less humid afternoon, the high 81. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
69 at O'Hare, 73 Lakefront. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy Jack Smith, the special counsel appointed by Merrick Garland to investigate Trump, announced the indictment of President Trump yesterday. 4 counts related to January 6th. Here's Jack Smith offering political commentary in defense of said indictment.
The attack on our nation's capital on January 6th, 2021 was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. As described in the indictment, it was fueled by lies. Lies by the defendant targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government, the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election. The men and women of law enforcement who defended the U.S. Capitol on January 6th are heroes. They are patriots and they are the very best of us. They did not just defend a building or the people sheltering in it. They put their lives on the line to defend who we are as a country and as a people. They defended the very institutions and principles that define the United States.
Mm-hmm. They stopped this coup attempt by Trump and his conspirators. That's what Jack Smith would have you believe. You're seeing reporting this morning from the indictment that, it goes to his state of mind. He was saying false things that he knew were false in furtherance of this conspiracy. In one of the statements that's pulled that I'm seeing reported everywhere, him allegedly saying to Mike Pence, "You're too honest." Well, in contravention to that claim, John Solomon reporting in Just the News that just days before Trump's indictment yesterday, former New York Police Commissioner Bernie Kerik turned over to Jack Smith a trove of documents that show the Trump legal team was still conducting a sprawling police-like probe that hadn't resolved most of the allegations of 2020 election fraud it had collected before the riot on January 6th occurred. He was running the investigation, Bernie Kerik was, at the direction of Rudy Giuliani, unsurprisingly. And a lawyer involved in producing the documents to Jack Smith told JustTheNews.com that the memos could provide to be valuable evidence of the state of mind of the former president's legal team that undercuts the theory that prosecutors laid out in the indictment of an intentional fraud conspiracy between Trump and these unnamed co-conspirators, one of whom is Giuliani and others John Eastman, names you've heard before.
Sidney Powell.
Right. And so, that also speaks to the idea that you have these lawyers that are running around saying we're going to release the Kraken, and Lynn Wood is out at rallies saying this thing was rigged and so on and so forth. And those were Trump's election attorneys pursuing his electoral and legal interests. And so you would argue that he was relying on their advice and counsel. That's potentially part of the argument. In the indictment itself, there's 4 counts. Conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and a conspiracy against Americans' rights to vote and have their vote counted. Mm-hmm. And how did they go about executing this conspiracy? Well, in the manner and means section of the indictment, it speaks to use knowingly false claims of election fraud to get state legislators and election officials to subvert legitimate election results, or attempt to, I guess. Organizing fraudulent slates of electors in 7 targeted states. Use the power and authority of the Justice Department to conduct sham election crime investigations. Attempt to enlist VP Pence, and so on and so forth. Those are the highlights, actually.
Right, but it's important to note that Trump was not charged with seditious conspiracy or insurrection.
Or inciting a riot. What he was charged with is making illegitimate legal claims, essentially, making arguments that were unsupported by the evidence. Those are speech. That is speech, and those are not speech crimes. That is not inciting a riot. That is not yelling fire in a crowded theater. That's making an argument about what a vice president can or cannot do in terms of the certification of the election, what you can or can't do at the state level, making arguments about evidence of the election being rigged or votes not being counted or votes being counted that shouldn't have been counted. Those are just arguments. That's not a conspiracy. That's a challenge to outcome. And that distinction is lost here. And by the way, just one point here. You can simultaneously believe two things, which this seems to completely evade the consciousness of the press corps and the Never Trumpers and the rest of the goon squad here that believes the ends justify the means. And that's how we preserve our democracy, rather than what they're actually doing, which is cheerleading the demise of the republic. You can believe that Trump exercised bad judgment and his legal arguments were specious, and the arguments that were made in court in the form of complaints or in public forums in the form of trying to persuade people that the election was, you can argue all of that was baseless, unsupported, it was silly, and still say, well, it's not a crime, though. That's not a crime. You're allowed to say things that are false. You're allowed to advance legal theories that people disagree with. That's why we have courts of law. And you're even allowed to advance an argument that's unconstitutional or that will be found to be unconstitutional. Otherwise, every ruling of the Supreme Court about the constitutionality of something should send someone to prison. Whoever was arguing the position determined to be unconstitutional, they should go to prison now. They were undermining the republic. They were conspiring to defraud people of this and that. Jonathan Turley opining on this yesterday.
Smith is willing to take a former president to court on a hope and a prayer. And I don't think he has a prayer. I think that ultimately, even if he can eke out a conviction, I cannot imagine how this would stand an appellate review unless he's withholding evidence that we haven't seen. I mean, this is a speaking indictment, but it doesn't say very much. It basically just says that we think Trump is lying, that he actually didn't believe this. I mean, I can't tell you how facially ridiculous this claim is. It starts out by saying, well, you know, of course you could say false things in a campaign, but then says, but Trump knew they were false. So is that the test going forward in terms of criminalizing political speech? The Supreme Court, in a case called Alvarez, said that a politician who had lied about military decorations could not be constitutionally prosecuted for those lies. So Smith is going to have to not just bulldoze through the First Amendment, he's going to have to bulldoze through a line of cases by the Supreme Court.
So you have to go to state of mind when politicians lie, which, I don't know.
Happens every day.
Well, in every campaign, and every day they're in office, to some extent or another, massaging the truth, if you want to call it that. But these are all now prosecutable offenses, or they're going to argue this line. They're going to say, well, no, it's not that. It's if you act on it. Well, you're acting on a theory that you think may be dubious, but it's in your interest to act on. So, your electoral political interest. Well, again, this is why you have election authorities and courts of law to adjudicate these matters. And they did. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by George Perry, former federal and state prosecutor, regular contributor to the American Spectator. He blogs at knowledgeisgood.net. George, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Nice to be with you.
So your perspective on this, is criminalizing political speech with which people disagree. Is that, as Jonathan Turley just articulated, is that your view?
Yeah, I mean, the indictment says, well, Trump had a right, like every American, to speak publicly about the election and even to claim falsely that there had been outcome determinative fraud during the election. He can tell those lies. But what he can't do is act on those lies. Well, how did he go about acting on those lies, according to the prosecutor? Well, he took action to have state officials investigate potential voter fraud. That was one of the acts. He worked with his conspirators, according to the prosecution, to submit substitute electors in 7 states, and he tried to persuade Vice President Pence that he had the power to refuse to count electoral votes on January 6th. Now, these may be totally wacky legal theories, but Trump was being told this not by a bunch of strip mall lawyers, but by very well qualified legal counsel. And they may have all the wrong theories, but seeking or soliciting state officials to hunt for voter fraud, that's not criminal. Even if you believe there was no voter fraud, that's not criminal.
Also, that distinction between like you can say it, but you can't act upon it. Well, isn't the President of the United States saying it, acting upon it? He's trying to persuade people. He's trying to persuade election authorities. So so I can think it, but I can't say it because saying is acting on it. So it's that you get to the same place.
Yeah, well, look, you know what I immediately thought of when I read this? This, by the way, is just, they stretch conspiracy theory to the breaking limit with this one. But I immediately thought of Bush v. Gore in 2000, the hanging Chad election down in Florida. The Al Gore people wanted a recount of the vote only in heavily Democrat counties. And the Republicans said, well, if we're going to have a recount, it could be statewide. The Supreme Court ultimately said, yeah, it's got to be statewide. Well, was Al Gore and his cohort, were they criminals? Because they were advocating something that was clearly illegal. You can't have a selective recount only in certain counties. It's patently and clearly illegal. That's what they advocated. Yeah. Now, under this theory, advanced by the prosecutor here, Al Gore's a criminal. What about going forward?
They knew if you know or should have known something is not provided by law and you advocate for it, then you get prosecuted by the federal government. That's the new standard.
Yeah, you go to prison. Nice theory. And the potential, I mean, this potentially criminalizes, all kinds of political activity. So if you disagree with the outcome of an election and you act on that, you take action to change the outcome of the election, you're a criminal. I mean, what does that do to political discourse in this country? What does that do to the politics, advocating for something, taking action on those beliefs, even if you don't believe it, but you're acting on it? That's politics. That's been the history of politics in this country from the beginning, and now they want to criminalize it. The real point here is that there are 2 things at work here. Number one, it's lawfare. It's just a continuation of the Trump-Russia collusion smear. Crossfire Hurricane, what the FBI did to him, special counsel, and on and on and on. And now they've indicted him for this. And what they're accomplishing is they're getting him to spend millions of dollars to defend against these baseless criminal charges. And that, to me, is what's really at work here. And by the way, I didn't see anything in here that they couldn't have alleged within weeks of the election being over. Once Biden was certified as the winner, they could have gone ahead and brought charges against Trump. Why did they wait 2.5 years? Why are these charges being brought now? Yeah.
So
this whole thing is.
Yeah. President Trump goes to court tomorrow. Is there any chance he'll be held on pretrial detention?
Hey, anything's possible in this setup. The charges are brought in D.C., Washington, D.C. The judge assigned to the case is an Obama-nominated judge. So anything's possible. I wouldn't be surprised if they put him in handcuffs and took him to join the January 6th protesters at the D.C. jail.
I smell a jailbreak if that occurs. I mean, honestly,
that would be something. wouldn't it?
We talk about this, and we've talked to you about this so many times because there's been so many indictments to discuss. And you almost become numb to it, but you can't become numb to it. The implications of a prosecution like this, are so profound. They're as profound as a prosecution can be when it comes to our God-given constitutional rights going forward. You talk about going forward. Going forward, you have set a precedent now that you can't unset, regardless of the outcome of this case. And as I said earlier, there is going to be enormous political pressure for the next Republican president, whoever that may be, whenever that may occur, to apply this same standard to political rivals. And I'm not saying they should, because I don't think we should. I always say we could be them, but they couldn't be us, and we should guard that difference jealously. But there's going to be enormous political pressure and enormous populist political opportunity to go tit for tat, and that's just going to further the disintegration of our freedoms, as far as I see.
Well, look, the erosion of respect for the rule of law in this country just continues apace. These things are going to wind up getting settled in the streets if these people keep this kind of nonsense up. Mm-hmm. But keep in mind, too, that, as I've said many times, when you come to the criminal law, the process is the punishment. Putting Trump through this, requiring him to spend these millions and millions of dollars, requiring him to defend himself in a court of law, that's the punishment. Whether they could ever get a conviction, and by the way, in front of a D.C. jury, they could charge Trump with Lindbergh kidnapping and they would convict him of it.
Right.
But the point here is they're putting Trump through this, number one, to activate or energize their political base, that is the Democrat political base,
and his
rehashing this whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the irony here. Every time he gets hit with one of these indictments, his polling goes up. And there is one theory out there that the Democrats want Trump to be the nominee because they think they can beat him in a general election.
There's no question. That's what they think.
But what about President Trump's right to due process? Is it being restricted? I mean, you have 3 different trials that are going on. I mean, the civil trial in New York is supposed to go to trial in October, a Mar-a-Lago document case next May, and then he's trying to run for president. I mean, how much can a man handle?
Well, I find the guy to be remarkably tough. I mean, most people would be in a closet sucking their thumbs by this point. And there's another charge coming down in Atlanta. Don't be under any misapprehension about that. You got another Democrat DA down there who's going to charge Trump with election interference in Georgia.
Oh, yeah, she's foaming at the mouth to do that. She can't wait.
Yeah, right. And then the Lindbergh baby prosecution happens after that. George Perry, former federal and state prosecutor, regular contributor to the American Spectator. He blogs at knowledgeisgood.net. George, thank you as always.
Okay, thank you.
We'll see you at the next indictment. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Freedom Square is an unbelievable service designed to unite freedom-loving Americans. I know these guys. They love their country and they're doing an amazing job. You can log on now to create your free personalized dashboard. All of your favorite news sites, podcasters, all on one site, all at your fingertips. Sign up your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with freedom-loving Americans. Look, people want businesses they can support. You want to know the good guys from the bad guys. That's freedomsquare.com. Log on right now and create your personalized dashboard. Join us in the fight, so check it out. freedomsquare.com. Freedom lives here.
Let's welcome our new Freedom Square Business Network members. Illinois Sports Medicine, Joe Cotton Ford, Frederick Douglass Foundation, and Mr. Landman. It's time to unite and vote with your dollars. Download the Freedom Square app and register your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with patriots. Freedom Square. Freedom lives here.
Do you really want to take shots the rest of your life just to lose weight? NJ Diet's typical results are twice as fast as weight loss injections without any of the side effects. Plus, you learn proper portion control and develop healthy eating habits for the rest of your life. By the end of NJ Diet's 40-day program, you will lose 20 to 40 plus pounds, contractually guaranteed. You will lose the weight and keep it off the natural way. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with scans, to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone. Then, NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help you keep the weight off. Locations locally in Skokie and Oakbrook, or available with live online video consultations. Don't take shots the rest of your life. Lose weight quickly the natural way with NJ Diet. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com. Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Amanda Zanger, owner of Black Industrial and Safety Supply in Hammond, Indiana, and a business customer of Signature Bank. Prior to owning my own business, I worked for a major financial institution. So when it came time to finance the acquisition of Black, I approached a big bank, only to receive a solid no. That's when Signature Bank stepped in. With Signature Bank, the process was different. Signature provided creative financing options that enabled me to purchase Black and continue to grow the business. Thanks to Signature Bank, Black Industrial is able to continue serving Fortune 500 industry fabricators and contractors with tools and safety supplies as we have since 1893.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Here's another question. So if you agreed with Trump that there was election malfeasance, if you supported putting together slates of alternative electors in the hopes that your legal theories would pan out or evidence would be presented, are you part of the conspiracy now too? How many millions of people are part of this conspiracy because they hold the same or similar views that Trump held in the form of the arguments that he and his lawyers made after the 2020 election? I'd like Jack Smith to answer that question. I know we
should all
won't.
be indicted.
Yes, indict them all. Let God sort them out. All right, coming up, we got to tackle some other issues, including what Neil deGrasse Tyson, supposedly a scientist, had to say about gender identity. 7:37.
But now let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
We're at 71 degrees at 7:32, and former President Donald Trump is scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow in the nation's capital. 4 counts related to his alleged efforts to try and overturn results of the 2020 election. In announcing the indictment yesterday, Special Counsel Jack Smith said his office will push for a speedy trial, and they're ready to have what they consider evidence tested, quote, in a court of law, end quote. Former President Trump's opponents for the Republican bid for the 2024 presidential election reacting to his recent indictment. Fox's Doug Luzader joins us with more.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who said he hadn't read the full indictment yet, put out this statement. Weaponization of government, replace the FBI director, and ensure a single standard of justice for all Americans. Vivek Ramaswamy, meantime, defended the former president.
It would be easier for me if Donald Trump were eliminated from competition. That is not how any of us should want to win, because that is bad for this country.
South Carolina Senator Tim Scott writes, what we see today are 2 different tracks of justice, one for political opponents and another for the son of the current president, a reference to Hunter Biden. We're watching Biden's DOJ continue to hunt Republicans while protecting Democrats.
The former president has been ordered to appear in federal court for his arraignment again on Thursday. It's creating major waves on Wall Street this morning. Fitch, the ratings agency, is downgrading its U.S. debt rating from the highest, AAA, to AA+. Several factors were cited, including what Fitch called a steady deterioration of the standards of governance over the past 2 decades. Gas prices under Joe Biden's energy policies continue to go nowhere but up. AAA reports the national average for regular is at $3.80 a gallon. It's 2 cents higher than yesterday, 12 cents higher than last Wednesday, 27 cents higher than it was just 1 month ago. One person is dead, 50 more are badly hurt after a bus crash at the Grand Canyon. It happened at Grand Canyon West Tuesday morning in Arizona. That bus was filled with tourists. 3 men have been transported to a local hospital, shot on Chicago's South Side. It happened Tuesday night around 7:15. One of the 3 men is in critical condition. Chicago police are investigating after a mail carrier reportedly had been shot in the 3200 block of North Kildare in the Kilbourne Park neighborhood Tuesday afternoon. The mail carrier was transported to Illinois Masonic Hospital in good condition. Illinois State Police launching a civilian crash reporting system. The system allows the public to create a crash report online without having to wait roadside for a trooper to respond. Now, state police believe the CCRS system will increase public safety because individuals can report their crash from a safe location. It also allows troopers to serve the public, according to the police, more efficiently. Cubs 20-9 winners over the Reds at Wrigley Field. Lifeless White Sox managed just 3 hits and a 2-0 loss to the Rangers in Dallas. The news service of MyPillow. MyPillow employees want to thank you by giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows. Visit MyPillow.com and use that promo code, Liberty. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains extreme arrogance.
This is very important. This is the arrogance of the left in a nutshell. We will come up with a new idea for what a policeman should do. And our idea will be better.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800.
Place in northern Illinois that people have come from all around the globe seeking treasure.
It's amazing. I didn't know what to expect, but when I got there, I was surrounded by all kinds of gold and silver.
An actual place where you're surrounded by treasure?
I've known that gold and silver were a good investment, but I really didn't want to buy it through the mail. At Fox Valley Coins, I basically walked in, picked out what I wanted, paid cash, and walked out with gold and silver.
Walk in with paper and walk out with actual gold and silver bars. For decades, Fox Valley Coins has traded paper dollars for actual gold and silver. They buy and sell. The treasure map is available at foxvalleycoins.com. They are on Route 59, 1 light north of I-88 in Naperville, Illinois. Again, for info and the map, seek foxvalleycoins.com.
I've been reading ads for a long time, so when I tell you I've never seen a cyber summer sale until now, I'm telling you the truth. Get 40% off everything plus doorbuster deals now through August 8th at Blinds.com. Blinds.com knows that summer is prime time for home improvement projects, and they have everything you need from Roman and roller shades to shutters, curtains, and more. They even have outdoor shades to make your deck or patio the coolest spot on the block, and blackout shades to help beat the heat and your electric bill. I have Blinds.com blinds all over my house. And with Blinds.com, there's no need for an in-home consultation. Just to get a quote, you always get upfront pricing on their website. Shop and save big at Blinds.com's Cyber Summer Sale. Now through August 8th, get 40% off site-wide plus doorbusters. Save 40% only at Blinds.com's Cyber Summer Sale. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
740. Let's get an update on the roads. The Eden's climbing up right now to 22 minutes. Lake Cook Road to the junction. Kennedy, it's an hour 3 from O'Hare into the Burn Circle interchange. Stevenson commuters, about 50 minutes right now, 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, 24 minutes, 95th into the Burn Circle interchange. You're jammed up in the express at 59. Veterans Memorial Toll Road jamming up northbound right at Fountain Road. 8094 jamming up eastbound between Broadway and I-65. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds and sunshine. We'll have a high of 88. Patchy clouds, 69 overnight. 71 right now. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Whether Trump is the Republican nominee for president or not next year, it's difficult to see how the full range of issues that affect our quality of life and the future of this country are going to be adequately discussed because, I mean, all of his legal matters are going to be going on simultaneous to the election and the run-up to it, whether he's the nominee or not. It's really going to crowd out conversations that should be at least as pronounced as the issue of Trump, and not so much Trump, but the precedents that we're setting and the rule of law and equal justice before it, as we've been discussing all morning. But these cultural issues need to be fleshed out as well. And, you know, this Trump indictment stuff not only provides a nice cover for them to run interference for Biden Incorporated and that hillbilly crime family from Wilmington, but also for these other cultural issues where they have control of the institutions, they're doing the socializing, the media is doing the promoting, and people's attention is somewhat distracted by what's going on nationally as compared to what's going on locally, even within their own family. It certainly happens. Which brings me to Neil deGrasse Tyson, the celebrated astrophysicist. We've had him on the show. We discussed COVID with him.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
I'd like to cross intellectual swords with Neil deGrasse Tyson again on this. Here's Tyson talking about the gender identity politics of our day.
Oh, no.
And he asks a question that I want our listeners to think about and answer.
My point is, apparently, the XXXY chromosomes are insufficient. Because when we wake up in the morning, we exaggerate whatever feature we want to portray the gender of our choice. Either the one you're assigned, the one you choose to be, whatever it is. And so now, so now just to tie a bow on this, I say to you, somewhere I think I read that the United States was a land where we have the pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
suppose no matter my chromosomes, today I feel 80% female, 20% male. I'm gonna put on makeup. I'm gonna do that. Tomorrow I might feel 80% male. I'll remove the makeup and I'll wear a muscle shirt. Why do you care? What business is it of yours to require that I fulfill your inability to think of gender on a spectrum?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. I want people to answer the question, why do you care, to the extent you do, but also I have to challenge the underlying premise. People wake up in the morning and they decide what their gender identity is going to be, and then they exaggerate characteristics associated with that gender identity. Really?
Yeah, you're going to put makeup on if you're feeling 80% woman?
This is very much like Alfred Kinsey's specious science of everybody's on the gay spectrum. You're, somewhere between 100% gay and 100% hetero. Everybody's on the spectrum. So that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson is doing, just bootstrapping some junk science or scientific statement. I mean, I guess it's a scientific statement since he's a scientist, but there's not really any support for it, and also just sort of logically, I mean, your own lived experience. Yeah, I'm a man today, so I'm putting on a muscle shirt. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna go chug some beers and cruise some chicks. What the hell are you talking about?
Well,
Exaggerate my masculinity? What does that even mean?
Science is all about feelings now? How you feel? 312-642-5600. Obviously, that's our turnkey.pro answer line. But you can also text us all morning long at 64636, then type in DA, then a quick comment.
Exaggerates stereotypical gender identity is Dylan Mulvaney with his little girly voice and all this other stuff. I mean, it's absurd.
Don't act like that.
People, and this is
by the
conscious.
way, she's charging $40,000 to speak at your university. She's soliciting herself if you want her to come speak to your students in the fall.
Do you consciously exaggerate, or maybe subconsciously, and you'll have to ask people, why is Greg exaggerating his masculinity today? He's not a Mr. Fix-It, but he's, trying to work on the plumbing in my house. I'm going to show you what kind of man I am. I'm putting a tool belt on. I don't know how to use any tools. I'm exaggerating my masculinity. I'm going to go out and hunt. I'm going to bring home venison for dinner tonight. What these statements that are made, noted, celebrated astrophysicist, not a dumb guy. Incredibly ridiculous statement. And these are the contortions you have to do in order to make this silliness and, frankly, a grotesqueness acceptable. By the way,
he's destroying his reputation, Dan.
Why do you care is the operative question. I mean, the exaggerating thing we can have a lot of fun with, as I am, but why do you care? And, of course, he blurs the distinction, doesn't he? Chris and Carrie.
Hey, good morning, guys. I don't really have a problem with what he said on the basis of, why do I care? I don't. But it never ends there. It's always pushed further. And do I have to respond based upon how you feel today and address you accordingly? It never ends with just, he broke it down. I just want to dress one way or feel a different way. It doesn't end there. It's taken into schools. It's pushed by teachers.
Right.
And then I'm expected to, conform. Exactly.
Thanks for the call,
that's
Chris.
why. Why do I care? Because moms who are deciding whether or not, should I let little Jimmy because Jane listens to that and says, maybe I should.
Chris in the Gold Coast.
Hey, good morning. Hey, I don't care, what this person does as an individual. It only matters when it starts to affect other people. And, to the extent that he's going to impinge on, my rights and my ability to live my life, then it's a problem. Other than that, I can care less. You can do whatever you want.
Thanks for the call, Chris. Jordan, Antioch.
Good morning. It's not a matter of whether or not you want to wake up and decide if you identify as 80% palm tree. I don't care, and I did have venison last night for dinner, by the way.
Did you kill it
Kill
yourself?
it yourself with
Yeah.
your bare hands.
I actually did. Yes, in November, I actually did.
You're exaggerating your masculinity. That's what Neil deGrasse Tyson is talking about.
I'm trying. Most people like to play hard to get. I like to play hard to want. That's how I
Yeah,
roll.
that's right.
It's the fact that you will not accept the fact that I don't want to participate in your lie, and beyond that, you won't accept it so much that you want to push my kids to believe your lie, and if they don't accept it, you want to indoctrinate them. You want to separate them from me.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
that's it. That's it.
It's
Thanks.
the issue of I can let you live, you let me live, but you can't do that.
Thanks for the call, Jordan. I mean, that's it. It's both what both of those callers said. It's about the imposition, and you're forced to celebrate. You're forced to repeat the lies. Number one, and number two, the line that Neil deGrasse Tyson doesn't draw, which is the line that we do. I mean, you're an adult. You have the ability to make whatever decisions you want to make. You're a child. Do we care about children, generally speaking, and the institutions that are formational for children? Whether we have children in that particular school or we have any connection to that particular family? Do we, the school, the medical community, do we care about this? The quality of what's happening in these institutions that are not only formational, but the bedrock of civilization. So here's how I would respond to Neil deGrasse Tyson, why I care. I mean, some of the comments very good. But in addition to that, no, you know what, Neil, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to tell you why I care. Prisha Mosley is going to tell you why I care.
My name is Prisha Mosley. I was a 15-year-old girl when the trans community found me. Already diagnosed with multiple mental illnesses, including anorexia, a body dysmorphic disorder, and borderline personality disorder, a trauma disorder, I was easy to manipulate and convince that I had been born in the wrong body. I was told that this was the reason for all of my mental and emotional distress. I was told that changing my gender would cure me. As an impressionable and mentally ill child, I fully believed this. I also believed that my sexual assault, which happened at age 14, only happened to girls. I wanted to transition to be safe, and I was allowed to make permanent changes to my health due to these beliefs. Beginning at 17, high doses of testosterone were injected into my anorexic body. This was done by a pediatrician in the same hospital where I was seeing a nutritionist for my severe malnutritionist and regularly receiving stitches for cutting and other self-harming behavior. What I don't understand is why they never offered me counseling to help me with the depression, the trauma, the personality disorder, or my ongoing self-harm. It was clear that they were solely focused on pushing me into transition without any regard for all of the other clear challenges and issues I was experiencing. Testosterone had extreme side effects, more and more of which I am discovering every day. I suffered hair growth all over my body and hair loss on my head. My shoulders rapidly broadened beyond my frame, causing me to be disproportionate, clumsy, and in pain. My neck, back, and shoulders constantly burn, and all of my joints ache all of the time. Testosterone also caused changes in my vocal cords and throat. I can no longer sing or really raise my voice, and speaking for long periods of time causes me pain. My endocrine system is ruined, and I'm no longer able to regulate my own hormones. I have no choice but to be medicated for this for the rest of my life.
And she goes on from there. Prisha Mosley, Chloe Cole, all of these brave young people coming forward talking about their transition and detransitioning, the implications, what they didn't know, what they weren't told, how their parents were buffaloed by medical professionals. You have a show that's dedicated to this right now, I Am Jazz, about Jazz Jennings and the crisis of consciousness, that Jazz Jennings has publicly suffered, and that's all ignored. And there are no implications for that beyond Prisha Mosley, beyond Chloe Cole, teenagers that are started on puberty blockers, prepubescent, that have their breasts removed at 14 and 15 years old. No, that has no societal implications. We shouldn't care about that. I don't think so. Mike in Northwest Indiana.
Morning, guys. I think what nobody wants to look at is where's the money coming from to perform all these surgeries and treatments and drugs and and so forth. I see the same thing with global warming. You've got National Science Foundation grants and multi-millions of dollars to study global warming. If you come up with a theory that disproves it or challenges it, you won't get funded. So first thing we got to do as a nation is stop turning the federal government into a giant piggy bank and a charity. It's not what the attention should be. The government should not be doing any funding of any of this nonsense. Thanks.
Well, thanks for the call. Right. I mean, but they are in the military, and they are for federal employees, and they are if you're in prison, and they are if you're a City of Chicago employee, and they are mandating it for health insurance policies. Maurice and Berwyn, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, guys, I don't care, but I think as that segment you just played indicated, you're talking about your risk versus your reward. Amy can say more than I can. When you're talking about living your life as a woman, being a woman is actually very expensive. You're talking about health care, you're talking about clothing, cosmetics.
Tell me, sister.
Women's lives are not easy. But I want to sound misogynistic, but it's very expensive to live as a woman. So maybe somebody should say, hey, if you want to do this, ask me how. Have a good one, guys.
Thanks, Mo.
Well, it's all the socialization aspect too. It's like if you're going to be one of us, please act like us.
That makes no sense to me. Honestly, you say that all the time, and it makes absolutely no sense to me. Please,
can I give you an example?
Please impersonate me. Please. If you conduct this charade, then I'll abide it. No, I won't. But go ahead.
No, I had to usher a funeral with a transgender person because there's a lot that attend my church, and he was stomping around and just hot flashes and just making a spectacle of himself or herself. And I said, "This is not about you today. Can you stop? Like this is not about you. You're drawing that we are here to remember the life of a young woman who died from brain cancer. Stop with your women don't act like that, okay? And especially not on a day like today. So get it together,
right,
or go outside, or go to the crying room.
Okay, so if that man pretending to be a woman, I suspect from
he had the operation.
So he's a man pretending to be a woman, as I said. I don't know these lines that you draw and then erase. It's all very confusing, but it's pretty straightforward. As long as he impersonates you, then he's a woman.
No.
Well, that's what you're saying.
It's a sickness. I mean, I just.
You know what I want? I want if you wear a toupee, I want it to be the most obvious toupee in the world because it's.
Aren't they all?
I want like a chin strap on it. Just celebrate it. Same thing. Have a ZZ Top beard and walk around and tell everybody you're a woman.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
It's hot and humid outside, but your basement or crawl space shouldn't feel that way. High humidity above 60% will activate mold spores, which results in unhealthy air throughout your home. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer of Permaseal. We have a solution for you. Our PermaDry air system will lower the humidity in your home to a safe level and keep it there no matter how hot it is. Call today, 800-421-SEAL. PermaDry is 3 times as powerful and efficient as the dehumidifiers at the big box stores. So don't spend the money and not solve the problem. PermaDry also filters out mold spores and allergens, making the air that you breathe upstairs healthier year-round. Contact Permaseal today for a free evaluation and receive a 20% discount on your PermaDry. Don't wait. This offer expires July 31st. Ask your consultant about financing options. That's 800-421-7325 or permaseal.net.
Visit Dennis Prager. Sign up today for an unforgettable experience in Israel this October. Mike Gallagher and I are traveling to the Holy Land on the Stand with Israel tour with our trusted partner, Inspiration Cruises and Tours. This trip of a lifetime to Israel is one you don't want to miss. Register today before it's too late at standwithisraeltour.com, standwithisraeltour.com, or call 855-565-5519. 855-565-5519.
Don't miss Cigar Night with Dennis Prager, Dan Proft, and Sean Thompson on Thursday, August 24th. Get your tickets today at 560theanswer.com/cigar. News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com. On the AM 560 mobile app. Tune in, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
Thank you to everyone. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump posted that on social media to all his supporters the day after his third indictment. He remains the Republican frontrunner trying to win the job back, and some of his rivals defend him.
It would be easier for me if Donald Trump were eliminated from competition. That is not how any of us should want to win, because that is bad for this country.
Vivek Ramaswamy, Tim Scott, and Ron DeSantis are all critical of the Trump criminal cases, the latest one related to the Capitol riot and attempts to overturn the election. Ex-Vice President Mike Pence, who's also a 2024 candidate, posted,
"Anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be president of the United States." Pence was tasked with leading Congress in certifying the election results on January 6, with many protesters demanding he be hung. The former vice president has repeatedly stated he could not overturn the 2020 election results that former President Trump continues to deny.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz, the former president, will be arraigned tomorrow, with special counsel Jack Smith saying,
"My office will seek a speedy trial so that our evidence can be tested in court and judged by a jury of citizens."
For the first time, North Korea has acknowledged a UN request for information about an American soldier who crossed the border last month to avoid being sent back to the U.S. to face disciplinary action after Army Private Travis King was jailed in South Korea on assault charges.
But a Pentagon spokesman says U.S. officials still don't have any substantial progress to share. Military officials say they do not know the whereabouts of King or how he is being treated in North Korea, but are pressing several diplomatic channels to secure his return.
Fox's Jared Halpern. Iran is playing war games in the Persian Gulf. Military drills around two disputed islands, with a Revolutionary Guard leader saying there is no need for a U.S. presence in the region. Thousands of Marines and sailors are on their way to the Gulf, responding to recent Iranian attempts to seize oil tankers. And an American soldier died in Germany in a crash on a highway. America's listening to Fox News. .71 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 3 men have been transported to a local hospital after being shot. It happened on the South Side Tuesday night around 7:15 p.m. on South Springfield in the Lawndale neighborhood. 33-year-old man remains in critical condition. Chicago police are investigating after a mail carrier reportedly was shot in the 3200 block of North Kildare. Carrier was transported to Illinois Masonic in stable condition. A reward of up to $50,000 for information leading to an arrest is available. There are formal charges now against a man wanted for setting his girlfriend on fire in Kenosha, Wisconsin last weekend. The DA in Kenosha filed attempted homicide charges against Myron Bowie yesterday. He remains on the run, possibly here in Chicago. A woman who was shot during a road rage incident on Chicago's DuSable Lakeshore Drive over the weekend is dead. Cook County Medical Examiner identifies her as 37-year-old Nancy Padilla of Chicago. Cubs rout the Reds 20-9 and designate slugger Trey Mancini for assignment. Meantime, Sox lost to the Rangers 2-0, and the Bears claim defensive tackle Bravion Roy off waivers from the Panthers. The news, a service of Tom Mirabali Insurance. Learn how he can eliminate the mandatory maternity coverage and lower your monthly premiums. Get started, healthplanchicago.com. 8:03. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The downgrade of U.S. credit from rating agency Fitch is keeping stocks under pressure. Fitch lowered the rating from AAA to AA, blaming uncertainty caused by last-minute deals to fund the government. More earnings news this morning. Yum Brands, parent company of Taco Bell and Pizza Hut, reported upbeat earnings. So did Kraft Heinz, though its sales came in weaker than predicted. CVS Health is reporting a better-than-expected quarter. Its forecast for this year is mixed. The stock is higher. Employers have started cutting off access to some expensive weight loss drugs. Popular treatments Ozempic and Wegovy can cost more than $1,300 a month. The Wall Street Journal says the University of Texas system will no longer cover them effective September 1st. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk believes action should be taken.
I don't like impeachments. I don't think it should be done lightly. With that being said, we know impeachments are largely theater. We know that it's just largely performative. We have absolutely no choice but to pursue impeachment of Joe Biden and his cartel of criminals around him. We shouldn't celebrate this. It is 100% necessary.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before
you can control your blood pressure. 120 Life has made the best natural ingredients available to you in one drink. Pomegranate, tart cherries, cranberries, hibiscus, beetroot, and magnesium. All a natural way to lower your blood pressure. That's what's nice about it. It comes in an 8-ounce bottle. You can mix and match smoothies, out of the bottle, whatever you prefer. Visit 120life.com. That's 120life.com. You can order a 2-week trial pack. Using promo code Liberty, you save 15%, and it comes with a money-back guarantee. Visit 120life.com. That's 120life.com. That's 120life.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Springfield area attorneys. 2815 Old Jacksonville Road, Suite 103, Springfield, Illinois, 62704.
8:07, let's get an update on the roads. A service of Woodland Windows and Doors in Roselle. And Marvin replacement windows and doors can bring your backyard right into your living space. Connect the inside of your home to the outside with Marvin Windows. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your consultation. Eden's right now 21 minutes, Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy inbound, it's an hour from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike at 39 in from Manheim to the old post office. Ike outbound 44 outbound to 390, and the Stevenson inbound 45 from 355 to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan sitting at 25 minutes from 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Tri-State, DuPage County accident, left lane block northbound right at Cermak. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds and sunshine today with a high of 88. 71 right now. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Boy, that Dickensian name, president of Northwestern University, my alma mater, sorry to say, he is doing a great Drew Barrymore impersonation. I'm talking about from Firestarter, not from her little silly show that she has on now. Compounding the decision he made to terminate Pat Fitzgerald and open up the floodgates to the trial lawyers. The university has now retained one former United States Attorney General for the Obama administration, Loretta Lynch, to do a University Commission investigation that will be made public.
Oh, you mean Tarmac Lady with Bill Clinton?
Yeah, I wonder
in
if
Arizona. Remember that when they were golfing when it was 115 degrees outside? Mm-hmm.
Right, she had Bill Clinton
on her plane.
On her plane to tell him not to worry, that the investigation to Hillary Clinton, we put guardrails on it, so don't worry about that. So I just don't know. I know she's been retained by the university, but given her Obama administration bona fides, will Ben Crump get the visit to the tarmac, or will Michael Schill? I don't know.
Oh, these are all good questions, but can you imagine if Trump had done that he had met with a AG on a tarmac and claimed that he was in Arizona to golf? Mm-hmm. And they just happened to run into each other.
Yeah, the president's notwithstanding. Now I'm more interested in the attorney general who's in private practice now. Uh-huh. Well, that should be really interesting. Meanwhile, among those representing athletes or former student athletes at Northwestern, Ben Crump and Stephen Levin, they are representing, at least according to the latest report I saw, 15 former student athletes, and they are in conversations with at least 50 others. They're representing those student athletes in complaints that have been filed against the university. And Stephen Levin, founder and senior partner, Levin and Perconti, attorneys at law, joins us now. Stephen Levin, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Amy.
So the 15 former student athletes that you're representing, if that's the current number, I don't know. Is that right?
I think it's a larger number than that, but it's probably over 20 at this point.
What sports? What's the expanse of the sports, male and female, they represent in terms of Northwestern?
Our clients are all former student-athlete football players.
All football, okay.
We are talking to some other players, other people, but those are obviously the far overwhelming majority of our cases.
And
can you give us other sports? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, what other sports? Are women's sports, cheerleading? What can you expand on that, please?
Well, there has been reports of there. I don't want to disclose other clients that we are still talking to, but based on news accounts, you see there's volleyball players. There's talks of a mascot. There's talks of people in the baseball program. But we are primarily focusing on football.
Willie the Wildcat was car wash. Okay, so with respect to the claims, is there any statute of limitations that is in force here? I mean, aren't IID cases, don't they have 2-year statute of limitations?
Many cases have the general statute of limitation is 2 years. However, that statute is extended under certain circumstances, including repressed memory. Sort of what's going on here is that these players were led to believe or understood that this was a normalized part of participating in the football program. And the consequences of coming forward in that situation would have been extreme and scary to these players. It would have involved probably being ostracized from the football team, ostracized from the program, ostracized from the Northwestern community, which many of them were recruited to join, the alumni community, and it was sort of almost like a sick cult that was occurring.
But they were adults.
They started out as teenagers who
were adults
to come to a college.
They were adults when this happened. They were adults when they were on campus. I don't understand.
You mean people over the age of 18 are legally adults?
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah, right. So they're adults. The way this is being described is like repressed memories of childhood abuse. They're not children. They're adults on campus. They're Division I athletes on a college campus.
Well, I think you're forgetting that these are students who were recruited by Northwestern under the theory that they needed that this would be a home for them. This would be a place for them. This would be a place where they could not only play football but be educated. And they could go on from that position to have the support of the entire alumni network in the community as they, went on with their jobs. I think you're grossly underestimating the pressure a 17 or an 18-year-old kid has when he goes to a football camp. He's trying to do his education. He's trying to play football. He's trying to succeed. And he's placed in an environment that if he doesn't participate, he will be ostracized and will face consequences. That is what hazing is.
Right, but did any of your clients participate in hazing younger, athletes when they were upperclassmen? Because that will come out.
It's our position that the hazed people and the hazers are the same. It's the prisoner mentality. Do you blame the prisoner who does what the guards say to other prisoners because that is the situation that he's in or she's in? It is an environment that if they don't participate, both as hazed and as hazers, they will be ostracized.
So this
is the environment that they were in.
So this is the Stanford prison experiment, is what you're arguing.
Well, I'm not sure what the Stanford prison experiment is, but it's certainly similar. But I think you're looking at the situation incorrectly. It's not the students. I think a better way, a more helpful way to look at it would be to simply say Northwestern had an anti-hazing policy for years and years and years. The coach of Northwestern has made public statements that hazing is zero tolerating. It's sort of infuriating for everyone to put this on the athletes. This would have stopped if someone in the athletic department convened all the coaches, all the administrators, all the trainers, and said, hazing is not allowed. If you've done it, cut it out. If you see it, stop it. If you allow it to go on, you will be expelled or fired. Why is it constantly put on these students? This was organized. They came into the program. It's an administrative issue.
So who organized it?
It's gone on for decades.
So wait a second. No, who it's gone on for decades? Well, then, who is perpetrating it? So Gary Barnett handed it off to Randy Walker, who handed it off to Pat. I mean, what does that mean? It's gone on for decades.
Dan,
who organized this?
I don't know if it was. Good question. The investigation will show that, but it is perpetuated for decades.
And so, what was Patrick Fitzgerald's? What do you allege was Patrick Fitzgerald's role?
We are not focusing on individual coaches. We are focusing on Northwestern as a university. This program spanned many coaches, many years, many players. It's a Northwestern University problem. And it simply could have been ended for someone in charge at Northwestern to say, spoken to all the coaches and say, we're not kidding, we're not turning a blind eye. It's not going to be allowed. Stop it.
Well, but do you have evidence that those things never happened, or there's no evidence that you have those things did happen? I mean, it's a university problem, but the university is comprised of individuals, so somebody has to be named as you did or didn't do X, Y, or Z. Does it go back to Arnie Weber when I was there as the university president? Is the university president today? Is he responsible? Who's responsible? No one? Just the university in the abstract? That doesn't make sense.
No, it's the athletic department or the administration that's responsible.
Which
you're
one?
Asking two different questions.
Well, I'm asking who's responsible.
Northwestern University, through the administrators of the university, through its coaching staff, through whoever knew that it was going on or should have known that it was going on and didn't stop it.
Well,
that's who's responsible.
Well, who knew or should have known?
This, Dan.
Who knew or should have known?
Let me ask you this. The coaches should have known. The people who run the athletic department should have known. The trainers should have known. Everybody should have known who was exposed to it. How could something be so widespread and long-standing where it had its own particular sick rituals and not have been discovered? That's a good question. I mean, I think that's a question better directed to Northwestern.
Well, I mean,
all we know is that it happened. No, it happened.
Well, yeah, it happened at the hands of somebody. So you have 15 players. You're talking to 50 players. They're making specific allegations, but they're not pointing at anybody in specifically. They're just saying this happened, sui generis. We just walk in and people are just doing this, and we have no idea if it's being directed or who knows, who doesn't know. We have no perspective on that.
Well, let me back that question up for a second. You're not denying, I assume, that it happened. You're not denying that it happened over decades. You're not denying that it.
No, I don't know. I have no idea.
Well,
I have allegations.
You heard the reports of the players.
But let me just answer that question, then you can go. Yeah, I use 15 players, 50 players. Well, right. Well, there's going back to one of the guys making an allegation who graduated in 2008. I mean, 15 years, you're talking about thousands of players. So of that group, you have some making allegations, and you have many more either staying silent or saying, that's not the Northwestern experience I had. You have people like former quarterback Steve Schnurr standing up for Patrick Fitzgerald and others doing the same. So it's not like it's completely one-sided here.
Well, I know this. Long before litigation started, the Daily Northwestern broke this story. They interviewed numerous players. Based on that story, the university conducted what they claim was a long, detailed investigation. The result of that investigation, which reviewed documents, interviewed players, concluded that 1, the allegations were true, 2, that they were widespread, and 3, that Northwestern had a substantial opportunity to find out what was going on. That's just the executive summary. We have not seen the entire Northwestern report. We suspect that has even more information on this particular subject. So that is Northwestern University investigating itself before this was litigation, before this was a major news story. And then we have the president of Northwestern who reviewed that report. Admittedly, he's taken some up. He's got to his conclusion in a strange way, but he reviewed that report and said ultimately that after he heard the accounts of the victims of this hazing, he was more morally compelled to fire the coach.
Yeah,
so
but at
don't
first
put
he
it on the
suspended him for
players
2
to try to
weeks.
figure out why they were doing this. That's a question better directed at Northwestern. It was happening. It was affecting people. It was ruining lives. It was barbaric. It was against Northwestern's hazing policy. All of that is clear. To deflect this and to blame the victim, I think, is wrong.
What
But the victim turned victimizer, you said. I mean, because you have team captains. You have
it's a
team
cult.
captains for a reason.
You just heard it's a cult. It's a Stanford prison experiment. But nobody was conducting it apparently. What is the definition?
Dan, what do you mean nobody was conducting?
Well,
it was happening. It was happening in the open. There were coaches there.
Oh, so name them. Who's responsible? I'm just asking for names. Nobody wants to name any names. It's very interesting to me. Is Derek Gregg responsible? He's the athletic director. Did Pat Fitzgerald did he sanction this? What are you saying? Was he oblivious? What is it? I don't hear any characterizations of the alleged responsible parties. I just hear it's the university. What does that mean? You're not going to get money out of a building. You're going to get money out of people.
As the investigations come out, there will be detailed names. I'm not going to name names on the air, but if you've read the complaints, there are at least 2 coaches named in the complaint. My purpose is not to call out individuals at Northwestern that knew or should have known. My purpose is to say this should stop. It should not happen anywhere. It was against Northwestern's policy. It did happen, and people were harmed by it. Do you think, Dan, let me ask you this, Dan, is there any place in a major football program or any football program anywhere in the country for this type of behavior?
Or
hazing?
Hazing.
Or now hazing turning into ritualized sick sexual behavior. Do you think that's appropriate anywhere in any football program anywhere in the country?
So here's the thing. Hazing is now used like bullying. It's sort of this catch-all phrase. So you have to be specific about the behavior or specific about the definition, one of the two, because there's some behavior that's alleged that I recoil at, and if I would have been a football player there, which I wasn't, I wouldn't have participated in, and I wouldn't have allowed to happen myself. Otherwise, I'm happy to throw hands if that's what's required. Number one. Number two, is there any limiting?
Dan, have you read Northwestern's anti-hazing policy?
I have.
Have you read it?
I
do you
have.
Take issue with it?
I do.
Think it's gone too far?
I
do.
do.
Think that stuff should have been allowed? You think there's a place for that?
No,
that's the definition that you're looking for.
Counselor, if you ask me a question, you have to let me answer it. You're not a United States senator. If you ask me a question, you have to let me answer it.
Or a news reporter.
Or a news reporter, exactly. And I'm not a news reporter. I'm a radio talk show host, and I am letting you answer.
Or a radio talk show host.
And I am letting you answer questions. That's the difference, I suppose.
Go ahead, Dan.
So here's the thing. I do have problems with the anti-hazing policy as written because I think it's too broad, and this is exactly my point. What is the limiting principle to quote-unquote hazing? Because from the trial lawyer's perspective, of course, it's going to be whatever my client who claims to be a victim says is hazing.
Wrong, Dan.
It could be It could be a crossword.
Dan.
Go ahead, answer.
It's not the trial lawyer's perspective. No trial lawyers wrote Northwestern's anti-hazing policy.
Right.
No trial lawyer has studied hazing and its negative effect. Hazing is not something that's allowed.
Is there any limiting principle?
Detailed description. Let me ask you this. You said there's some type of hazing that you think is appropriate. What type of hazing is that?
That's not what I said. I said, is there a limiting principle? This is a term that's being used generically, and I think it has to be addressed specifically. The specific behavior, the specific conduct that's alleged, because
it's alleged in detail in our complaint.
I keep asking, and you keep avoiding. Is there any limiting principle in a Division I men's football program? Is there any limiting principle to somebody making a hazing allegation?
I guess I'm confused by what you mean by limiting principle.
If I say it's hazing, it's hazing. Is there anything that limits my viewpoint on what is or is not hazing as somebody making an allegation?
Well, I guess the best way I can answer your question is read you Northwestern's anti-hazing policy.
I did.
It's any physical abuse expected or inflicted upon another, including paddling, tattooing, branding, creation of excessive fatigue, sleep deprivation or interference, physical and psychological shock, sexual violations, prolonged exposure to severe or inclement weather, periods of silence, kidnapping, road trips, abandonment. Dan, how should I say this in a nice way? It's hard for me to believe that you don't understand what hazing is and all the implications.
Okay, learn it.
So you're either on the side of hazing or you're not. And if you agree that hazing should not be permitted, that it has no place in the program. And Pat Fitzgerald, have you read his statement on it? Do you know what he said 10 years ago?
Yeah, he said hazing had no place. That's right.
No place.
I understand.
In a football program.
I understand.
So
I understand what he said.
With that you're right.
Yeah.
But that's what he said. That's what Northwestern said. That's what any reasonable educator in this country says.
I understand what they say. And then there's the reality of how 18 to 22-year-old men on a football team who are trained to be killers interact. But my larger point, and you just made it for me, is that
trained to be killers?
You know what I'm saying.
You're going a little too far.
You know what I'm saying on the football field. You know what I'm saying.
I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, well, let me tell you what I'm saying. That if you're going to pretend to be obtuse like the typical trial lawyer, then I'll tell you what I'm saying. They're trained to be physical and aggressive and fighters and break. I mean, obviously, you know what football is, particularly at that level. So, you want to talk about being silly, and you just confirm what essentially was my point. That is the Potter Stewart standard for pornography. I know it when I see it, and so there is no limiting principle. And I agree, based on the independent report, probably what will come from Loretta Lynch and certainly previous statements that Northwestern is going to open up its checkbooks, and they can't wait to do it, because the good news for you, Stephen Levin, is that Northwestern has a lot of money and very little character. So you're in a good position. Stephen Levin is the founder and senior partner at Levin Perconti Attorneys at Law. Stephen Levin, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
You've decided to remodel your kitchen or bathroom. Okay, the search is on. Who can you trust to give you a great remodel at a fair price?
I asked that you would give us a chance to work with you to have a quality, stress-free kitchen or bath remodel. This is Javen Aldana. My company is Aldana & Son. That's right, we're a family business and we share the same values as you. I am deeply involved in every aspect of your remodel. Realtors love our company too. They know we can get it done as soon as possible and make it fabulous. A happy customer is the only way we do business. You want referrals and reviews? No problem. We stand by our work. We take it personally. Kitchen or bathroom remodels, small or large, we have you covered. Go to remodelingforme.com. That's remodelingforme.com. Aldana & Son. Just under 25 years of happy customers. Let's make you the next one. Go to remodelingforme.com. That's remodelingforme.com.
Did you know that St. John's Lutheran School in Lombard is the only school in the entire state of Illinois offering the renowned Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum? Attention parents in Lombard, Glen Ellen, Wheaton, Downers Grove, and surrounding areas. Are you searching for an exceptional educational experience for your child? Look no further than St. John's Lutheran K-8 School, where academic excellence meets strong Christian values. At St. John's, our partnership with Hillsdale College ensures that your child receives a rigorous K-8 academic experience. What sets St. John's apart is that we recognize the concerns many parents have about the radical woke agenda infiltrating public schools. That's why we're dedicated to providing a nurturing environment that promotes the Christian faith, traditional values, and critical thinking. The Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum, combined with our focus on our Christian faith and character development, will be a game changer for your child's K-8 education. Visit us online at stjohnslombard.com. Give your child or grandchild the gift of a faith-based Hillsdale College K-8 curriculum-based education. That's stjohnslombard.com.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, that last segment was really good.
Well, I mean, I just, since nobody wants to have this conversation, everybody's afraid to be, to do what Stephen Levin tried to do to me. What do you condone hazing? Would you just come on? Can we just have like a real world conversation about this sort of thing? And
I gotta tell you,
everybody wants to, hide behind victimization and these poor children. Children, they're 18 to 22 years old. They're Division I athletes. They've been training their entire lives. They've been in these environments their entire lives, including, by the way, this just in. I'm sure the trial lawyers know this. Quote-unquote hazing, however it's defined, eye of the beholder, that occurs in high school programs, too. So you better pony up, public school districts. Stephen Levin and his friends are coming for you next.
I got to tell you, I also think U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch, she's going to get rid of the athletic program altogether. She may suggest it, and who knows what's going to happen. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to, speaking of high school, a high school junior and the winner of the Network of Enlightened Women's 2023 essay contest. You'll hear what her topic was at 8:38.
And hopefully we'll have time for Why Dan Proft is Single Barbie edition. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
71 degrees at 8:33. Former President Donald Trump due to be arraigned tomorrow in Washington, D.C. on 4 counts related to his alleged efforts to overturn results from the 2020 election. On Fox Business this morning, Florida Republican Congressman Carlos Jimenez calls the indictment politically motivated.
There's a double standard here, without a doubt, and it's not coincidental that it's a day after you get this testimony, which is really, pretty damning to the Biden family. and the president gets indicted. It seems to be a pattern.
Jimenez on Mornings with Maria, and Senate Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries released a statement this morning claiming the indictment is a reminder that no one, quote, is above the law, end quote. A well-dressed trio is on the lam after a multi-million-dollar jewelry heist in central Paris. Two men and a woman, a trio reportedly simply walked into a jewelry store around lunchtime, forced an employee to open display cases and a safe at gunpoint, grabbed $16 million worth of merchandise, and simply walked out the door. Fitch is downgrading its U.S. debt rating from the highest, AAA, to AA+. Several factors were cited, including a steady deterioration in standards of governance. Gas prices under the Biden administration keep going nowhere but up. AAA reports the national average for regular is $3.80 a gallon, 2 cents higher than yesterday, 27 cents higher than it was 30 days ago. 3 men have been transported to a local hospital after being shot on the south side. Chicago police say they responded to the 1300 block of South Springfield in the Lawndale neighborhood 7:15 last night. A 33-year-old man remains in critical condition. A new national monument honoring Emmett Till and his mother is now official.
Today, the story of Emmett Till serves as not just how far we've come, but how much more work we have to do.
Mayor Brandon Johnson spoke yesterday as the placard was unveiled recognizing the Roberts Temple Church of God in Christ in Bronzeville as a national monument. Cubs beat the Reds 20-9. White Sox lost to the Rangers 2-0. Bears bringing in defensive tackle Bravion Roy off waivers from the Panthers yesterday. The news a service of Starcase. When you need to protect your valuable equipment, put it in a Starcase. The most dependable road cases you can buy. Designed and made right here in the Midwest. Go to starcase.com to order your case now. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher isn't sure what to think.
Your concern is that the Ukrainians, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. Where's the concern for the United States in that?
Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern.
I don't think "that's not my concern" means what Mike Pence thinks it means. And I don't have a clue.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're trading the markets and not paying attention to artificial intelligence, you need to listen to what I have to say next. AI is going to completely transform our world. Vantage Point is an AI-powered software that uses pattern recognition to identify market trends before they become obvious. I'm talking about generative AI capable of forecasting financial market data and helping traders find the best trades with up to 87.4% proven accuracy. Vantage Point has even been granted 2 U.S. patents on its technology. Text MONEY to 813-813 for a free live class to learn more about AI for traders. Text the word money to 813-813 and learn more for free today. Text money to 813-813. Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors. Past results do not guarantee future performance. By texting, you agree to the terms available at VantagePointSoftware.com and consent to receive calls and texts using automated technology about offers or info by or on behalf of Vantage Point. Your consent is not a condition to purchase and can be revoked at any time. Message and data rates may apply. Text the word money to 813-813.
There are more than 50 million people enslaved in the world today. Most of them are women and children.
They lock you in cellars or in rooms with no windows. 95% of girls that are born in the brothels remain trapped in the brothels for the rest of their lives.
SOS International is working to make freedom possible for these women and kids. And with your help, today can be the day another victim comes into freedom.
By the hundreds, we are saving those girls and bringing them to a secure place, a place that is a safe home for them to grow in.
Just $150 makes freedom possible for a trafficking victim. It provides shelter, food, counseling, everything they need to start a new life. Make freedom possible now.
Visit 560theanswer.com/SOS.
Every day that goes by is another day of suffering and abuse. but you can change it now. You can make today the day of freedom and rescue. Learn how you can bring freedom now at 560theanswer.com/SOS.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
My son was saying, Mom, why are you paying so much for this? The supplement store has the exact same thing. And I said, no, they don't. Because he was telling me that they have similar products as Balance of Nature. But then when he came over to my house and he looked at the label of the Balance of Nature about all the, ingredients and everything, he realized, oh yeah, this is a superior product.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. This week only, we're extending our special travel offer. Right now, get $25 off your first order as a preferred customer, plus a free fruits and veggies travel set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Call 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
840 on AM 560, The Answer. Let's get an update on the roads, a service of Dell Technologies. Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do. So great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now. Inbound on the Edens, 25 minutes. Lake Cook Road to the junction. Kennedy inbound, 76 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Ike in, it's an hour and 5 minutes from 390 into the old post office. Dan Ryan, stop and go between 59th and Roosevelt in the locals. It's a half hour in from 95th to the Burns Circle interchange. Vehicle fire, right lane blocked on the Jane Addams, I-90 eastbound, right before Harmony Riley Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Clouds and sunshine today. Back up near 88 for a high temp and a low of 69 overnight. Much more humid with a blend of sun and clouds and a high of 87 tomorrow. Right now, 73 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. America First with Sebastian Gorka, today at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560 The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. By the way, just a postscript on the conversation about Northwestern we had with personal injury attorney Stephen Levin. Yeah. Minnesota, University of Minnesota, P.J. Fleck is under fire too. Some former players alleging the program was like a cult, fraught with intimidation and toxicity. There are some specific allegations. There was an internal investigation done with respect to allegations that they were prescribing painkillers that are illegal, that you can't prescribe in the NCAA. And the parties accused were exonerated. So there's that. But it's more, so, specific allegations, fine, let's address specific allegations. But these general terms, it's a cult, it's fraught with intimidation and toxicity. Have you ever played football? Have you ever been in a team sport? I mean, if you want to look at it through the jaundiced eye of the person who seeks to be victimized, seeks to play the role of the victim, well, you're going to find it. And this was sort of my overarching point in the conversation with Levin. What's the limiting principle here? Who are the responsible parties specifically? I mean, sustained physical abuse, that's called a football game.
Well, and practice is hard. I mean, they practice for hours.
He made me go on the kickoff team and get my brains kicked in over and over again every time we scored. Although you don't have to worry about that at Northwestern.
Well, and then the female volleyball player who claims that alleges she was victimized, she said that they treated her differently after she tested positive for COVID. Excuse me. It's like, well, so what? I mean, The whole world was treating people differently if they had COVID or if they didn't get vaccinated.
You think it's tough for Northwestern? You should be a
Try the
dancer
real
for
world.
Lizzo. 3 former dancers for Lizzo. You know who Lizzo is.
How could you miss her, Dan?
Yeah, she's a big girl who wears not much in the way of clothing. Also, she's got three dancers that are suing her.
Ooh, what happened?
They were subjected to weight shaming, sexually denigrating behavior, and pressuring them to participate in disturbing sex shows. I don't know if this happened in at Northwestern or at Lizzo's dressing room. Cast members were invited to take turns touching nude performers. Why are there nude performers? Don't know. Haven't seen Lizzo live yet. Catching dildos launched from the performers' vaginas.
Oh,
and eating bananas protruding from the performers' vaginas.
Okay, gross. What is this, a bachelor party? A bad bachelor party?
I don't know, but I don't know. So we'll see if some people have repressed memories of the women's lacrosse team at Northwestern along the lines of being a Lizzo dancer. Yeah, so it's rampant. More market opportunities for trial lawyers. All right. Let's switch gears and get ourselves out of the gutter there, Amy.
You brought it up.
It's true. Beverly Richardson is a junior at Mechanicsville High School in Mechanicsville, Virginia, and she is the winner of the Network of Enlightened Women's 2023 essay contest. The Network of Enlightened Women. We'll learn more about that. Beverly Richardson joins us now. Beverly, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good morning. How are y'all?
Good morning.
Good.
So tell us about this essay contest and the topic that you selected to write about.
So the whole prompt was, what is it like to be a woman in 2023, which is super awesome. I was very excited, but I also decided to write about transgender gentlemen in my restroom, which is also very controversial, which is very hard to talk about for certain people, such as my peers and everything. So I felt like it was kind of a way for me to step in and kind of talk about how I felt about it.
And so what is your perspective about a dude in your bathroom at school?
I don't like it. It makes me feel very unsafe, kind of like how my peers feel. They feel very unsafe in that situation, but they felt like they couldn't talk about it, which is very hard because our school says that everybody's welcome and anybody can talk about what they need to with the counselors. But once we go to talk about it, the counselors dismiss it.
And so, how do you and your friends, how do you interact with this young man who's, transitioning or impersonating a woman at school?
We feel as if we can't really say anything about it, so we're very nice to him. I personally don't really talk to him much because it makes me uncomfortable, but I have talked to him in the past. But it made me feel very uncomfortable talking to this gentleman.
Well, is he doing this for show, or do you believe that he's really transitioning?
I think he's doing. I don't really know. I think he is transitioning, but I think it's very sickening at the same time because we were made this way. I don't believe you should change your gender, but that's just my opinion, to be honest. So.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, that's why you won the contest, is by expressing your opinion. And what is your opinion about the teachers and mentors at school? What they should be teaching you and your friends at school?
I think that we should be taught that it is okay to speak our opinion, but many of the teachers dismiss it. I went to go talk to many of my teachers, and they just dismissed it because they're scared to say anything. They're scared they're going to lose their job over it. So having that situation and all that is very hard for us students who feel unsafe, who feel like we can't do anything about it, which is very hard.
Yeah, and what do you think they should be teaching boys and girls about being boys and girls?
I think that we shouldn't be able to change our gender. I mean, I don't think that they should be teaching that it's okay. I mean, it is considered a sin to change your gender, which that's in many religions. I mean, they decided to change our churches, which is very hard. They decided they're going to take out certain things in the Bible to make people feel comfortable, and that's not okay.
And what do you think the parents' role should be in all of this?
They should be the ones who are deciding if they should teach their child that or not the schools. I wrote about that in my paper, actually. Many teachers are, like, talking about these books that are talking about transitioning and being gay and all this, and they're children's books. That should not be okay. I mean, they are having their situations where they're deciding which books should and shouldn't go into schools, but if they weren't doing that, many of these books would be in our schools, which is very concerning. I, as a child, even if I was a parent in this time, I would not want my child to be taught that. That is not okay.
And this is a public school you go to, right?
Yes, I go to a public school.
And like, do most of your students, the kids in your class, do they, even whether they're willing to speak out about it like you do or not, do they basically agree with you, or do they think that it's okay if boys want to identify as girls and girls identify as boys and the like?
I think it's the way, it depends on how they were raised. I was raised in a very traditional household with we were very conservative. We do not believe it is okay, but at the same time, my parents do not speak out about it because they're scared. I'm not scared to talk about anything. It is what it is. It's my, they can just get over it.
Have you thought about
But
transferring to a private school? I mean, did you ever get to
I
that
would
point
love
where you thought?
to, but at the same time, with our money situation we've had for years, we would not be able to. But if I had the opportunity to, I definitely would.
How are you treated? So we're all talking about how, like, this guy who's pretending to be a girl is being treated. How are you being treated by speaking out when so many people are afraid to speak out? They obviously feel there are going to be repercussions, and you don't seem to care as much. So how are you being treated?
Well, we haven't started school back yet since this paper, so I don't know yet. But, I mean, it is what it is. It's my opinion. I'm allowed to speak out about it, and if they don't like it, well, that's kind of just how it is.
I love it.
I said what I said. If they don't like it, I mean, I don't know what to tell them.
What is this network of enlightened women? How did you get involved in this essay contest?
My mentor, she was a part of the network in Enlightened Women, and she saw this contest, and she thought I would be interested. So she helped me out with getting me into it and teaching me a little bit about them, and I really liked it. So I decided, why not?
And what'd you win for having the winning essay?
I got a scholarship. It's around $500-ish, which is wonderful. But I also got an experience.
Yeah, great.
That's what I'm more is the experience.
And you get to be on Chicago's Morning Answer. I mean, you won the
Sure.
lotto right there.
Star turn. Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right. Your careers
happening.
are about to be launched, just like ours were. Hello.
It's wonderful. I'm very
No, it's great. And so wait, you're going to be a junior this year?
Yes, sir. I'm going to be a junior. I don't know if I'm going to have full classes. I know I'm going to have at least one full day of classes. So we'll see how that goes. I'm very excited.
And then what are you already looking ahead? What's next for you? Going to college, running for office, being president. What are you going to do?
Well, I definitely am looking into Liberty University. That is one of my biggest places I would like to go. I'm also looking into Longwood, which has been a childhood favorite of mine because I used to go there for my programs and stuff for the Gifted and Talented, which was wonderfully awesome. I loved it there. I grew up there, actually. Those are the two main ones I'm looking at.
Well, this is excellent. You're a delightful young lady, and keep that attitude of I'm going to speak my mind, I'm going to voice my opinion, and that's just the way it is. I love that. Beverly Richardson is a junior at Mechanicsville High School in Mechanicsville, VA, and she's the winner of the Network of Enlightened Women's 2023 essay contest. I'll tweet out her essay, which is Transgender Ideology is Making Education Worse. She has the courage to speak out, so maybe more of us should as well. Beverly Richardson, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck to you.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting me come on.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Rick Borick, host of Unleash Your Wealth.
When the stock market struggles, when inflation is high, you need to start looking through the inventory of all your accounts and say, is every one of these investments working as hard as it could be? Because every month during high inflation that you waste, you're losing 8 or 9% a year.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and our new time at 2 p.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
AI is going to completely transform our world. Some people are calling this the Chat GPT for traders, and the platform is Vantage Point. Did you know Vantage Point has been perfecting AI for traders since the late 1980s? Vantage Point is an AI-powered software that uses pattern recognition to identify market trends before they become obvious. I'm talking about generative AI capable of forecasting financial market data and helping traders find the best trades with up to 87.4% proven accuracy. Text MONEY to 813-813 for a free live class to learn more about AI for traders. And as a bonus for attending, you'll receive a free copy of the Vantage Point Accuracy Study. Text the word MONEY to 813-813.
Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors. Past results do not guarantee future performance. By texting, you agree to the terms available at VantagePointSoftware.com and consent to receive calls and texts using automated technology about offers or info by or on behalf of Vantage Point. Your consent is not a condition to purchase and can be revoked at any time. Message and data rates may apply.
Text the word MONEY to 813-813.
Hey everybody, Charlie Kirk here. Freedom Square is an unbelievable service designed to unite freedom-loving Americans. I know these guys. They love their country and they're doing an amazing job. You can log on now to create your free personalized dashboard. All of your favorite news sites, podcasters, all on one site, all at your fingertips. Sign up your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with freedom-loving Americans. Look, people want businesses they can support. You want to know the good guys from the bad guys. That's freedomsquare.com. Log on right now and create your personalized dashboard. Join us in the fight, so check it out. freedomsquare.com. Freedom lives here.
Let's welcome our new Freedom Square Business Network members. Best Dental Group, MyFireside.com, Nurse Freedom Network, and Patriot Mobile. It's time to unite and vote with your dollars. Download the Freedom Square app and register your business right now at freedomsquare.com and start connecting with patriots. Freedom Square. Freedom lives here.
If your money is not earning at least 5.25% tax deferred, you need to call Professional Life and Casualty. They're offering a 5.25% APY on new funds deposited into your annuity, traditional IRA, or Roth IRA accounts. Rate subject to change. Please call to confirm. With Professional Life and Casualty, you pay no surrender charges, no administrative fees, and no withdrawal fees. Professional Life and Casualty has been providing insurance and annuity products for over 60 years. Visit plcinsurance.com, plcinsurance.com. They'll send you a free guide to tax-deferred, no-fee annuity. Earn 5.25% APY on annuity, traditional IRA, or Roth IRA. Pay no surrender charges, no administrative fees, and no withdrawal fees. Only from Professional Life and Casualty. Call 1-800-651-1800. That's 1-800-651-1800.
If you're trading the markets and not paying attention to artificial intelligence, you need to listen to what I have to say next. AI is going to completely transform our world. Vantage Point is an AI-powered software that uses pattern recognition to identify market trends before they become obvious. I'm talking about generative AI capable of forecasting financial market data and helping traders find the best trades with up to 87.4% proven accuracy. Vantage Point has even been granted 2 U.S. patents on its technology. Text MONEY to 813-813 for a free live class to learn more about AI for traders. Text the word MONEY to 813-813 and learn more for free today. Text MONEY to 813-813. Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors. Past results do not guarantee future performance. By texting, you agree to the terms available at VantagePointSoftware.com and consent to receive calls and texts using automated technology about offers or info by or on behalf of Vantage Point. Your consent is not a condition to purchase and can be revoked at any time. Message and data rates may apply. Text the word MONEY to 813-813.
Hi, I'm Randy Donnelly.
And I'm Susan from Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois.
We're the hosts of the Donnelly Auctions Hour every Saturday at 1 p.m.
here on AM 560.
There is no show like it in the Chicagoland area.
We talk about antiques of all kinds.
And we can help you sell your antiques.
We have great items and the buyers for every collection.
To find out more, go to DonleyAuctions.com and listen Saturdays at 1 p.m. for the Donley Auctions Hour, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer.
You know, we use that Lizzo song, Truth Hurts, that line from it, I put the sing in single.
In single, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we can use that anymore now that she's making her dancers allegedly eat bananas protruding from the vaginas of performers. You know what I mean?
Right. Don't they have anything better to do? Maybe they should take up reading. All right. Thanks to Justin Kosick, our technical producer, and Quinn McCarthy, our executive director. We're back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. It is now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
No comment yet from President Biden. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After the third indictment of his potential rival in a 2024 rematch, former President Trump, who calls the new case ridiculous, claiming he's a target of election interference.
We haven't even gotten a White House statement, and it's possible we may not get one, even as Republicans accuse the administration of using the Justice Department to target its biggest political opponent.
Fox's Mark Meredith in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, where President Biden is vacationing. A Trump lawyer, John Lauro, tells Fox the new indictment's an attack on free speech.
We are on uncharted territory. We are in a constitutional abyss right now.
Special counsel Jack Smith, who's already charged the former president in the classified documents case, levied 4 new charges related to the Capitol riots.
It was fueled by lies. Lies by the defendant targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government, the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election.
The Trump arraignment will be tomorrow. Iran's doing military drills in the Persian Gulf, reacting to the thousands of U.S. troops headed to the region in reaction to Iran's attempts to seize oil tankers. A U.S. soldier's been killed in Germany, but not in combat.
The U.S. military says an Army soldier was in an armored vehicle when it was hit by a semi-truck. The member of the 2nd Cavalry Regiment was treated by civilian medics before being taken to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. The Army says no other soldiers were injured.
Fox's Ryan Schmidt.